official BSB Partner Series. This is FAB-Racing.
Hello and welcome back to the afternoon session. We are here for the Mototechniks Round 6 of the FAB-Racing Mini Bike British Championship. My name is Gareth Ball. I'm being joined, as usual, by Tristan Finocchiaro here from Ellough Park. Good afternoon.
Afternoon, Gareth, and it's a sad day in the FAB-Racing paddock because it's your final commentary here for the FAB-Racing Mini Bike British Championship. So we're going to miss you. Yeah, I'm going to miss you too. It's unfortunate. I'm missing the final round of the season. I'm going off on my stag do. So yeah, looking forward to that. But we'll be missing. We see how it is. Yeah, you've got your commitments. So well, it's been a absolute blast over 2 years, and I've enjoyed every second in the commentary box with yourself. It's been a real pleasure to cover Fab and to be with that journey all the way from you, and equally see you go off and doing the likes of the Talent Cup at Eurosport. But next up, well, we've got some action out on two wheels. We've got the Extreme 200s. They're out on circuit. Casey O'Gorman on pole position for this one. Casey O'Gorman, title contender over in the British Talent Cup, and pint-sized Casey O'Gorman on pole position ahead of also pint-sized Sullivan Mounsey on his Moto Team machine. I was speaking to Rob earlier, and that's a Conti chassis with a CRF 150 engine in it, so a complete hybrid for the number 44 of Sullivan Mounsey.
There was a word in there somewhere, wasn't there? It's well, I hope we've all enjoyed the lunch break, and you're back refreshed as we're up here in the firing line of the end of the runway for the UK parachuting site, which is just behind us here at Ellough Park, and everyone going up to prepare themselves to jump out of the plane, and well, they'll get a perfect view of the racing down below as they're coming down. They get almost, well, you'll be up there for
we should strap a camera to it.
You think it'd be quite, you get a decent aerial view of that, wouldn't you? Yeah, who needs a drone when you can have someone who can follow inside a circuit around? Well, this is the Extreme 200s and Moto Teams. It will be Casey O'Gorman on pole position, James Dutton in second with Sullivan Mounsey in third, Ollie Horner in fourth, and Georgina Polden, Greg Marshall in fifth and sixth. Seventh goes to Owen Mellor, eighth to Felix Dornan, with Jordan Hopes and Will Howard rounding out your top 10 in ninth and 10th. Row 6 goes to Bernie Hook, Craig Polden 11th and 12th for Jamie King, Dylan Mellor, Jack Andrews in 13th, 14th and 15th. 16th goes to Transponder Unknown. Unfortunately, we don't have the name on our grid. It's Adam Redding in 17th with Peter Parapanas in 18th, Sean Whittaker 19th, Jason Pugh in 20th, Eden Katz in 21st, Phil McElbeck in 22nd, Scott Jewett, Vince Bailey, Phil Joyce, Ian Baker and Charlie Ems are at the back end of this one. Of course, it's Extreme 200s and Moto Team, so two categories in this one, two categories with a separate subcategory inside Moto Team, because you've got the Moto Team Open, the Moto Team Stock. So we will try and keep you up to date with who's winning what category, because we will have effectively at the end of this one 3 race winners.
Yes, that's a commentator's nightmare ahead of this Extreme 200 and Moto Team Grid, but we will be bringing you all of the action for all 3 categories that we're about to see hit the circuits for the second time in anger this weekend for this race 2 for the Extreme 200s and the 2 Moto Team categories that we're about to see do battle here for the first race back after the lunch break, and their attention now will be going to the lights as they get ready to start this race 2. And there's a couple of creepers off the line, but it's a good start there from Sullivan Mounsey, who's trying to get up the inside of Casey O'Gorman, can't make that one stick. James Dutton into third now as well. Ollie Horner on his GP70 is fourth, just ahead of Georgina Polden on that 4-stroke machine in the Extreme 200. So Casey O'Gorman it is that leads away. We think it's Will Howarth and Jamie King are the ones to watch out for in the Moto Team. You can see Jamie King just making some moves there on one of the GP70 riders. Will Howarth really wide, and that's a big crash there. That's a terrible crash for those guys. Not what they would have wanted. They've gone straight into the tyres, both looking relatively up and okay. That was a big scary moment there.
Yeah, really, really nasty incident in a very, very fast corner, and we are still underway here for the Motor Team. Casey O'Gorman leading away as they head around the first round, and red flags out now, and understandably that was a pretty nasty hit for the rider going down at the exit in towards O'Rossi, and so race is being neutralised, and luckily, so rider sitting up on the deck there. It was It's a tricky corner there, especially going side by side. It's slightly off camber as you go into it, and obviously just tangled, and you can see a pretty heavy hit completely displaced those tyres, which we were talking about earlier in the senior Mini Motos. They're not light, are they, these tyres? It went straight through them and into the retaining wall. Yeah, there was a good 4-5 abreast going down that straight into the left-hander. There was Will Howarth making moves, Jamie King was in there as well, and there was just a lot of bikes in one space, and they've just, a couple of them are tangled together. I think Felix Dorling is one of the crashes in, looking up, and okay, one of the riders helping out, moving the tyres back into position, which is good to see, and they're both up and okay, which is really brilliant to see. So one of those is the number 87 of Felix Dorling. Expect to see him out in the Metro kits a little bit later on, and something that we're not used to seeing is some of these Metro kit, the GP70 riders, are having a go out in the Extreme 200s on their bike, as Harrison Crosby's now running his bike back to the, I believe that is Harrison Crosby who's running his bike back to the pits. So unlucky for him, he's had some technical problems earlier on, and the other rider involved in that crash that caused the red flag was the number 72 of Jordan Hopes, who was 9th place on the grid. Yeah, and really unlucky for Jordan there. A nasty crash. I think Jordan was the winner of the karting event last night, if I'm remembering correctly. Possibly. So I mean, it wasn't you, I know that much. No, it wasn't me, unfortunately. Yeah, so if you didn't join us for this morning, all the dads and some of the riders from yesterday, we all got together and went karting last night. We had 2 qualifying sessions, and then the lower sector went into their first race and had the, how do you put it politely, the slow race. The slow race. It was a fast race, the slow race. And then we got into, and you and our qualifying time, I beat you by 0.03 of a second. What happened in the race, Gareth? I got killed. I got assaulted into the middle sector. But well, we're back under red flag here. It's the first red flag we've had this weekend, so we've got time just to quickly skip over what we're going to have for the rest of the day here from Ellough Park. And this is, if you've just joined us, and welcome back, we are here for the afternoon session, race 2s and race 3s. It is the Mototechniks round 6 of the FAB-Racing Mini Bike British Championship. My name is Gareth Hall, joined as usual and for the final time by Tristan Finocchiaro. Of course, you can catch me over on social media at GT2_driving. You can catch Tristan on at SmagBog58. Of course, 58 being his number, he'd always race underneath. And we are bringing you the 6th round of the season. One final round to go after this. South Wales is somewhere that we've been waiting to go for so long. It was cancelled in 2020. It was cancelled earlier in 2021. They're finally going there. It is, of course, Llanelli in South Wales, as my Welsh national tongue comes out there as I try to do my double L's. I'm sure someone will tell me that it doesn't sound correct, but we've now got the guys rolling back out onto circuit. As Harrison's really not having a great weekend, is he? Not ideal for Crosby. Hopefully that luck won't translate over into his British Talent Cup campaign. One of the British Talent Cup riders. We see a few of the British Talent Cup riders and a lot of the riders from the BSB Paddock riding in these classes for a little bit of fun, a little bit of training, and work on their racecraft as well. There's plenty that they can benefit from racing here in the FAB-Racing Mini Bike British Championships. We see them in the likes of the Extreme 200s. We see them in the likes of the Pit Bike 140s. But keep an eye out also for the Moto team classes. They'll be racing in this category as well. So 3 race winners will be crowned at the end of this race as they go away for their green flag lap and a complete restart for the Extreme 200s and Moto team. So it will be Casey O'Gorman on pole position, James Dutton in second with Sullivan Mounsey in third, Ollie Horner fourth with Georgina Polden in fifth, Greg Marshall in sixth. Then we go to Owen Mellor and I believe Felix Dorling, I don't believe is in this restart. We'll have to double check with Jordan Hopes equally, who he tangled with 8th and 9th due to be. We'll see if they manage to restart. 10th goes to Will Howard for Bernie Hook in 11th, Craig Polden in 12th, Jamie King in 13th for Dylan Mellor 14th, Jack Andrews 15th with a unknown in 16th, Adam Redden 17th, Peter Parapanis in 18th, Sean Whittaker and Jason Pugh are row 10 in 19th and 20th, row 11 being Ian Katz, Phil Mapplbeck, Scott Jewett, Vince Bailey, Phil Joyce and Ian Baker. Charlie Ems is the final one on the grid in 27th position on the last row in row 14 and 27th position. As we've got the guys rolling out onto the grid for the Extreme 200s, and well, we've got plenty of racing coming up, and we've got the likes of the final races of the round 2s for the Extremes, the 70s and the Sidecars. We will tell you more about that at the end of this one, because there may be some news coming out of the paddock. And then, of course, we roll straight into the race 3s, but it's going to be Extreme 200s. They're getting ready to look to the lights to kick off their second race of the weekend. Lights on, lights off, and down towards the first corner goes Sullivan Mountsie, getting a good start there, jumping past Casey O'Gorman. Casey dropping from pole all the way down to third position. Got not a great start from O'Gorman, trying to get back down the inside into turn 3 ahead of James Dutton, but it's a good start from Mountsie.
Yeah, Sullivan Mountsie leading a race here at the FAB-Racing Minibike British Championships ahead of Casey O'Gorman. James Dutton got a good start there, got ahead of Casey, but has just managed Casey just managed to get back underneath him. There's some quite a bit of action happening in the background there. There's a couple of riders that came together and had a bit of a crash there. Yeah,
and in fact, I think the bikes were linked with each other, because I think that's the 47 was off the bike, and the other bike was dragging it along behind him. So a bit of a tangle into the hairpin on the first lap. But here comes Casey O'Gorman around the final corner, trying to line up Sullivan Mountsie, but Sullivan get a good drive out of that shot through onto the main straight, and he goes down towards turn 3 for the third time in this one, with Casey O'Gorman all over his wheel well and following in every track. Does he go down the inside? Here we go. Here's a move for the lead. Casey O'Gorman takes the inside line and uses possibly a slightly more nimble bike to get that move done.
Yeah, he timed it to perfection, got a good drive, and was solid on the brakes there. Both similar styled engines. One's difference in very different style engines, but similar in power. As Mountsie tries to have a little look up the inside, but was met by Casey O'Gorman's foot as he dangles that in the way as on the brakes down into the hairpin. So Casey O'Gorman is now then that leads. He's one of the championship contenders over in the British Talent Cup, and one of his Talent Cup rivals, not quite a championship rival, but one of his British Talent Cup rivals is Sullivan Mountsie. So these two used to riding against each other, and Sullivan trying to get the better of Casey here away from the big circuits.
Yeah, and coming down, getting some track time, getting some seat time on the bikes before they go back up to the BTC. And Casey O'Gorman, who won yesterday's race. Sullivan Mountsie, who's been running well in the category, just looking to get back up to pace, and he's not been dropped by Casey here, so Sullivan, good showing so far.
Yeah, he's staying right on the back of Casey O'Gorman. We'll see what the gap is across the line and what these guys' lap times are. He's got a tiny little bit of breathing space. He's just eked out a little bit of a gap through the slower section at the far end of the end of the circuit. So the final sector, Casey has a little bit more in the bag compared to Sullivan Mountsie. Sullivan able to stick with him through the fast flowing section at the beginning of this Ellough Park circuit, and now the gap is 0.8 of a second, so almost a second that Casey O'Gorman has over not Evan Belford. It's coming up as Evan Belford on the screen, but it is in fact Sullivan Mountsie, with James Dutton in third.
My apologies.
It's all right, you carry on, Gareth. Casey O'Gorman is that leads the race still then. Watch out for Jamie King. He is leading your Moto team race, and just leading ahead of Will Howarth. So this is the battle we're looking at on screen. This is between the Moto team guys, but Jamie King has managed to get a bike in between him and Will Howarth. So that's one of the Mellors that he's managed to get in between him and Will Howarth. So Jamie King ahead of Owen Mellor, and now has a bike in between him and his Moto team competitor.
Sorry, just choking on air then as I tried to take a breath to get ready into,
I did the same thing earlier on,
booming into some commentary, but here we go. Starting 8 laps left to go is Casey O'Gorman and Sullivan Mountsie. James Dutton, Ollie Horner having a good run in 4th position, Craig Polden moving past Georgina Polden. So the two Poldens swapping positions there in 5th and 6th position. Greg Marshall, Owen Mellor, Jamie King and Dylan Mellor, and they are racing out over the top 10. Of course, the Extreme 200 and Moto team. Jamie King leading the Moto team category as expected. He's running away with that championship. Jason Pugh a little bit further behind, involved in his own battle. Of course, we've got 3 categories in this race. We've got the Extreme 200s, you've got the Moto team, and the Moto team is split between the Moto team stock and the Moto team open. There's very, very close there as the bikes start to come through some lap traffic. That was Will Howarth trying to navigate his way around, and Bernie Hook as well. down the inside. There goes the 14.
Jack Andrews,
who had a big fall in the pit bike race, I think it was as well. So Jack, who's been in the wars this weekend, gets the move done. A little bit of a brave move there, possibly wasn't what he was hoping for. As Will Howarth tries to get a move done on Jamie King, not quite able to get it done. And so I believe this might be the lead battle in Moto Team. The 76 versus the 96 is Jamie King versus Will Howarth. So these two, not strangers on the circuit. They've raced each other multiple times.
Yeah, they like you say, they have raced each other multiple times, and riders that we're used to seeing in the front end of FAB-Racing championships, of course, the number 76 Jamie King, reigning Pit Bike 140 champion, and Will Howarth we're used to seeing at the front of the Senior Mini Moto Championship as well. So these guys used to leading races, but it's Jamie King that leads the way currently in the Moto team. Will Howarth having a little look, seeing what he can do about the number 76 of Jamie King, Pit Bike Sonic. And if you don't already have a look at his YouTube videos over on YouTube, Pit Bike Sonic's always putting up something about the race weekend, and had a little go on a sidecar earlier on today, and we saw Wendy filming that one, so expect to see that coming up soon.
Yeah, he came off and well, the look of fear in his eyes.
I don't think he enjoyed it.
No, I don't think he did. We could see him on the second lap just shaking his
Jack
head.
Andrews.
As Jack, nice move there on Will Howarth. He goes down the inside, so that's the 14 on the 96. And he can now chase down over Jamie King, who is just up ahead. Up the front, Casey O'Gorman is now broken away from James Dutton, because I'm just looking, and Sullivan Mounsey has dropped from our timing screen, so we'll have to see if that's just a lap timing glitch. But Casey O'Gorman from Sullivan, there we go, Sullivan Mounsey reappearing, so he is still in second position, however now 3.3 seconds behind. 5 laps left to go in this second race of the weekend for the Extreme 200s and Moto Team category. Of course, Moto Team, it is a team sport, so it's the bike that scores the points, not the rider. So you can put anyone on it, and as long as they can get around on 2 wheels and get to the checker flag, then they will be scoring points for that category. So it is one that you can go check out on the website fabracing.co.uk, where you can find out all the details, and of course get in touch with anyone to help yourself get on the grid for 2022. As we go back to the action, and all throughout the field, Tristan, we've got trios building. In fact, if you go back down, you've got 3, 4, 5 bike long trains going on.
Yeah, battles all the way through this Extreme 200 race, and battles in the Moto Team category as well. A lot of these bikes mixed in together as James Dutton makes his way through on some of the lapped traffic. A very busy circuit out here at the moment. 3 separate categories. We've got the Extreme 200s and the 2 separate categories in the Moto Team as well, the stock and the sport categories in the Moto Team. But leading the way overall in the race and leading the way in the Extreme 200s is Casey O'Gorman, and he's flying away out the front. 4.3 seconds he has over Sullivan Mounsey, who has another 5-second lead over James Dutton. James going a little bit wide through the hairpin there.
Just a little bit, but make sure he's back on the power, and he's holding on to a solid third at the moment. 6 seconds he's got an advantage over in front and behind him, so he's pretty clear. His big slide there in for Casey O'Gorman. Really enjoyed it, and again kicks the leg out in the mid corner. Casey out there, well, he knows he's got a 4.2 advantage now. He can afford to do this.
Yeah, I think he was just saying thank you to the lap traffic for letting him through with ease, but I'm sure he can carve his way through anyway as he comes up to lap Jason Pugh, one of the riders we're used to seeing at the front of the Moto Team, and is coincidentally third currently in the Moto Team category. So Jason Pugh picking up points for his championship in his respective category. And Casey O'Gorman leading the way overall and leading away in the Extreme 200s.
Yep, and he's got about 1.5 laps left to go to make it 2 from 2 in the Extreme 200s, has Casey O'Gorman, of course, up at the sharp end of the British Talent Cup, and doing a magnificent job. We haven't seen him too much this season due to the clashes, and it's great to have Casey back. And of course his younger brother Ollie O'Gorman will be in the AC40 rookie category for race 3 a little bit later on today, as Casey just sticks a leg out there as he goes past some more lap traffic down towards the Alan Wones hairpin. Well, about 3 more corners until he starts his final lap, and Casey now leading by a pretty healthy margin as the lap traffic perhaps doesn't see him come through. That's the 2.72, a little bit further behind, and that was Adam Redding. So Adam perhaps not seeing Casey, who's just been scything his way through this traffic as he went into the penultimate corner. Well, 1 lap left to go for Casey. last lap flag out, yellow flag with a black cross across it. That is last lap flag, no white flags here. But there you go, backing it in goes Casey O'Gorman, just about keeps out there. He almost looked like he had a slight wobble when he was down on his elbow. But well, once again, he's driven away from Sullivan Mounds. It looks as though Sullivan could stay with him in the early stages of this one, but as soon as Casey starts to put the power down, as he gets caught out by a bit more lap traffic there, he should cruise to the finish.
He should do, yeah. He's been a joy to watch throughout this Extreme 200 race. He's winning races over in the British Talent Cup, and now he's back here in the FAB-Racing Minibike British Championships, and he's winning races here as well. It's his second win on the bounce here at Ellough Park for Casey O'Gorman. We've got a little bit of a wait, and then it's Sullivan Moundsey that crosses the line to take second, and James Dutton will come across the line to pick up that third place. But which way is it going to go in the Moto team? Jamie King looks as if he's going to be able to get that one, and he's got a few bikes between him and Will Howarth a little bit further back, so it's going to be Jamie King, barring an act of God, that's going to win this one ahead of Will Howarth. And it looks like it's going to be Jason Pugh in third. Yeah,
so Jason Pugh, who unfortunately was looking at beating Jamie King this weekend and trying to recover some points back in that motor team category. Looks as though he's going to have to settle behind as here we go into the final corner. Comes Jamie King, and he's going to be crossing the line very, very shortly to take the checker flag and the win in category for Moto team, and beating Bernie Hook on an Extreme 200 bike whilst doing it. And behind we had the likes of Will Howarth in Jack Andrews in 11th, Will Howarth in 12th, then you got Adam Redding 13th, and Jason Pugh in 14th. So that is the end of the Extremes for now. They will be back in a couple of hours' time when they can finish their...
Casey O'Gorman's already sat down at the side of the circuit before a lot of these guys have even finished the race.
As it goes, the tandem parachute there as they come back. There you go. That's what we need to be doing. We keep saying every time they come down. I'd love to
commentate from there. We can see everything that's going.
Exactly. What would you do with like me and you going down together? Just
separate.
I reckon we could. I wouldn't trust you to pull the parachute. But
I'd be flying the plane.
So that's Jamie King, winner in Moto team. He had another victory, and Jamie a little bit more relaxed on those two wheels than perhaps he was on three when he was a passenger in Adrian M's, and disappearing into the trees, and there we go. It's a soft landing into the solar farm as he goes. Perhaps a soft landing, but hopefully we'll find out. But yeah, Jamie King with the win in that category. He was, and this does give us a little bit of downtime to just quickly gloss over what we saw during the lunch break. And we saw, unfortunately, for the M's pairing in the sidecars, Claire, who's the usual passenger for Aid M's, who is a real trooper. She's got a severe knee injury. She's still a passenger on that bike. She has unfortunately taken a real nasty injury to the hand, so she won't be able to passenger for the afternoon sessions and for the race 2 and race 3. So Aid was testing out some potential new passengers. Now he put both Jamie King and Rossi Banham on the bike, and both of them came off eyes wide open, and both shaking their heads saying, I do not want to ever do that again.
Yeah, and we've both done it ourselves. We know how tiring it is and how strenuous it can be, and both of them looked a little bit stiff on those bikes. Neither of them wanted to replace Claire M's on the side of that outfit, so it'll be interesting to see how that pans out later on. But now our attention turns to the Premier class for FAB-Racing. It's their second race of the weekend for the MKGP 70s. Yesterday's race saw Ethan Sparks, Philip Sroviak and Mason Foster battle it out for the victory. Which way is it going to go today?
This one I'm looking forward to, because yesterday's race was it was cagey, but it was a real fascinating way. It was interesting to watch, because you'd think in that race that it looked as though Philip Sroviak had the pace on Ethan Sparks in the final stages, but I mean, you spoke to Philip earlier, said I just couldn't find a way past. There was nowhere really that I could make a move, and unfortunately almost every single rider on the grid ended up with a grid penalty, with a time penalty due to jumping the start. So they'll all have to watch the lights, and it will be Ethan Sparks leading away, championship leader on 62. The 62 machine. Philip Sroviak on the 75 in second, with Mason Foster making it the top 3 in the title hunt, in top 3 on the grid. Ronnie Harris had a good run yesterday in 4th position. He lines up in 4th again. Ben Jolliffe in 5th with Clayton Edmonds 6th. Blake Wilson 7th with Josh Williams 8th. Charlie Hunterford in his home race in 9th with Solomon Mousey 10th. Ollie Horner and Greg Marshall are row 6. And then we've got Felix Dorlin and Harry Payne. Noah Guillory rounding out the 15 bike grid on row 8. And a look to my right, and my co-commentator, there we go, is dancing along to the quali grid music.
You hear it so often, you need to dance to it to make sure that it doesn't drive us insane.
So here we go. This is the Premier Class at FAB, the final step before these riders head up to the British Talent Cup. And once again, a lovely little stoppie there from Philip Soroviak. He clearly taking tips off of Clayton Edmonds from the 50s earlier on today. So what do we see? Who gets the jump off the line? This is going to be a really important start for Philip Soroviak. He struggled to get past yesterday. He needs to get the launch against Ethan Sparks. What does Mason Foster do from the second row as they get ready to look to the lights? Lights on, pause, lights off, and it's a better start there. It's a good start for Philip Soroviak. He's got a good run down the inside, but Ethan Sparks cuts him off, sweeping around the outside. Ronnie Harris looks as though he's got a line on Mason Foster going into turn 3, but Mason just holding on to it. Good start from the leading 3.
Yeah, Ben Jolliffe just got caged slightly off of the start and had to run a wider line. But look at Philip Soroviak now. Makes a block pass on Ethan Sparks. Is he going to be able to make it sick? He's got the inside line. No, Sparks was able to retain that lead. Got the drive, managed to stay on the outside of Soroviak. Soroviak's trying to make a move further down, and that's a brave move, and he's made that one stick. And Mason Foster's unfortunately got caught out there by the slowing Ethan Sparks. So now Philip Soroviak into the lead of this race. Was saying yesterday he was struggling to make a move, but he's not struggling to make moves today. The first lap is done for the MKGP 70s. It's Soroviak, Sparks, Foster, Harris and Ben Jolliffe for your top 5. Keep an eye out for Clayton Edmonds as well. He's going to be looking to rack up some points in this race as well. But it's these 3 at the front that have been at the front of the championship all year long.
FS75 is the 4th man in the 70s in the moment. 2 wins back at Rara and a second place. Second place yesterday. He is definitely the one that is starting to heat up coming towards the end of the season. Ethan Sparks was leading the championship coming into this weekend, and all things were held apart from, I think, Philip just recovered a few points on Mason due to finishing second ahead of Mason Foster in third. Mason's got to make some moves on the 2 guys ahead of him, but behind, Ronnie Harris is keeping them honest, and in fact, not like we saw yesterday, the top 3 start to break away, and this time around no one is making a move at all. You can see the entire field is still within a few seconds of each other.
Yeah, and these guys holding so much corner speed through that final corner. These are the fastest bikes on circuit for the junior riders. This is the Premier Class for the FAB-Racing Minibike British Championships, the official partner series to the British Superbike Championship and on Dorna's road to MotoGP. This is the final step before they move ahead onto the big tracks, the likes of the British Talent Cup, the likes of the European Talent Cup, and they're proving their worth here in the MKGP 70s. We know Philip Soroviak is already eyeing up a ride in the British Talent Cup, and it has a ride lined up for Donington Park. Ethan Sparks says he's going to be sticking around next year. Mason Foster's looking to move up, and now Ronnie Harris is all over the back of this top 3, so this is a 4-way battle for the lead, and Ben Jolliffe isn't completely out of it yet either.
No, Ronnie Harris has been getting quicker and quicker as the weekend's gone on. I've enjoyed watching him. Even through practice, he was looking fast, and he's been right on the back end of these guys. In fact, last time round, fastest lap of the race for him was a 48.344, 300ths of a second faster than Mason Foster, and the pair of them took 0.2 of a second off the race leaders. And so it's Philip Soroviak, Ethan Sparks, Mason Foster and Ronnie Harris all starting to break a little bit of a gap ahead of Ben Jolliffe and Clayton Edmonds. Clayton then behind him has got Blake Wilson, Josh Williams and Charlie Huntingford. Ollie Horner now into 10th position with Harry Payne just behind him. But it's a really solid race here from Ronnie Harris, and is what we're going to see from what we saw yesterday? Big wobble there on exit for Ethan Sparks. It looks as though he's managed to hold on to it. And but yesterday we saw the top 3 effectively just follow each other, really struggling to find a way past. We've got 8 laps left to go. Surely at some point one of them is going to have to think about making a move, like we saw from Philip Soroviak early in the race on Ethan Sparks.
I mean, if these guys have been, look at Mason Foster having a look at the move, not quite yet, but if these guys have been looking at the Pit Bike 140 race that we were watching earlier on, they'll know there is a way through around this Ellough Park circuit. So we saw Filip Sorowiak making moves early in the race. He wanted to get that stick because he knows if he leads this race, the others are going to struggle to get past him. He's got a little bit of breathing space now. It's going to be interesting to see what this lap is going to hold for Filip Sorowiak. A little bit untidy through the hairpin, a little bit of a wobble, and that's let them just eke that gap back down. So Filip Sorowiak crosses the line once more ahead of Ethan Sparks, Mason Foster and Ronnie Harris. Ronnie's going to be hungry for a podium. The podium shares have been shared between the likes of Sorowiak, Ethan Sparks and Mason Foster, but now it is still Sorowiak that leads, and this is getting really hot here in the MKGP70 race. Still 7 laps to go here, so they're just studying each other. Mason Foster, though, he needs to be finishing ahead of Ethan Sparks.
Yeah, he does indeed, and it is starting to you can see the top four really breaking away now. Filip Sorowiak just controlling the pace in this part of the race. In fact, he's just got a little bit of a gap now, and Mason Foster starting to impose himself on Ethan Sparks. And Ethan, well, as they come around Alan Wone's hairpin, you can see Mason looking markedly closer to Ethan Sparks, but Ethan trying to break away, takes a slightly wider exit, and that's going to perhaps just light up the eyes of Mason Foster. You can see that Ethan is pushing very, very hard. Ronnie Harris is the unknown quantity in this, isn't he? Because he's not really been fighting at the front with these three for the majority of the season, and he's right up there, so he knows if anything happens, he's there to pick up the pieces.
Yeah, he really is, and it was really fast at the front of the MKGP 50 Championship last year. Was runner-up to Ethan Sparks, who's currently second in this race, and currently your championship leader. There's between these top three for the championship, but this, like you say, this unknown entity of Ronnie Harris could throw up something special in this race too for the MKGP 70s. It's round 6, the Mototechniks round 6 here at Ellough Park. It's Filip Sorowiak that leads ahead of Sparks, Foster and Harris, but this battle for 5th is hotting up nicely as well. Ben Jolliffe is in there ahead of Clayton Edmonds and Blake Wilson. And Filip Sorowiak has gone down, has crashed out of the race. He's crashed out from the lead. That's terrible for the number 75. He's thrown it away down at the first corner.
Oh, that's a real shame for Filip. Yellow flag's out, he's pointing the wrong direction. He's going to have to try and get that bike underway, but yeah, he's seemingly trying to get everything sorted. But what a shame for Filip Sorowiak. He was running so well. That promotes Ethan Sparks back up into the lead of this one. And then behind, it looks as though Ronnie Harris has got up past Mason Foster. Yeah. So Ronnie Harris now up into second, chasing down Ethan Sparks. But here comes Mason Foster down the inside, takes second position back from Harris. So this is a battle that we've seen in the GP50s in the last year. Ethan Sparks, Mason Foster and Ronnie Harris. And now we're seeing it in the 70s. What a shame for Filip Sorowiak. He needs to, effectively, he needs to start circulating because he needs those points, and he can still come home and pick up a couple. But what a shame. He is now underway. So Filip making his way around the circuit, but out of contention for the race. It's now Ethan Sparks.
In 13th.
Yeah, so there's only a handful of points, so that could really, really hurt his chances of winning this championship. And what a shame for him. However, it's worked perfectly for Ethan Sparks. He's managed to take the lead back. Mason Foster, after losing second, gained it back from Ronnie Harris, but Ronnie Harris, you can see, very hungry indeed. Ben Jolliffe and Clayton Edmonds, they jump up a position due to Filip Sorowiak, and Ben Jolliffe is holding off Clayton Edmonds by 0.2 of a second. And the two riders that we see in multiple categories are doing very nicely indeed. Mason Foster looking to the inside of Ethan Sparks, and we've got 3 laps left to go in this second race of the weekend for the MKGP 70s. It's Ethan Sparks, Mason Foster, Ronnie Harris, your top 3 in this one. The gap across the line was less than a 10th of a second, so it's going to go right down to the wire in this one. And Ethan Sparks, who wants to be back on top, he needs to start extending that championship lead if he's to add to the AC40 Pro and the GP50 that he won in 2020. Can he win the championship in the GP70s this season? He's got to do it with an incredibly harsh amount of pressure from behind him. Mason Foster, Ronnie Harris right on his tail.
Yeah, this battle between this top 3 in this race is hotting up really, really well. Oh, and Noah Guillory unfortunately has crashed out at the final corner, so that's unfortunate for Noah Guillory. We've lost him out of this race, and that's a red flag. So red flag with Sparks leading ahead of Foster and Harris. We hope Noah Guillory is all right at the side of the circuit. So that is possibly going to be a result now.
Yeah, with that was 2 laps left to go in that one. So that may be a conclusion to the end. We'll find out from the race directors. But if that is the case, another breathless Rin. And so yeah, race result has been confirmed. So it is Ethan Sparks winning from Mason Foster and Ronnie Harris. Congratulations to Ronnie. He picks up his 2nd podium on the season. Picked up one back at Clay Pigeon. He's back in 3rd once again. So great to see Ronnie having a good run of it and challenging out the front of this one. And Filip Żerowiak, Tristan, he's going to be absolutely devastated with that. He was leading away, looking at picking up a 3rd win on the season, and unfortunately just the smallest of mistakes, and now he's lost an entire handful of points in that championship. Not
only has he crashed out of the lead, he's also, with that red flag, he wasn't given a chance to recover at all, so he will have picked up, I believe it was 13th that he picked up in that race, possibly 12th with Noah Guillory going out of the race, so he won't have picked up many points at all, and that's not good for his championship. He will have wanted the race win as well. I mean, he won back at Rowrah, and I believe that's his only win on the season, is it not?
2 wins at Rowrah.
2 wins at Rowrah.
He'd been waiting all season for one, and took a deserved victory, and then of course, as they do, one turns into 2 very, very
London
quickly.
buses.
Exactly. And a 2nd place in race 3. So, he had a brilliant run at Rowrah. We were speaking to his dad earlier this weekend. I spoke to him back at Rowrah as well, and he was absolutely elated. And Filip, who often attracts a pretty large following, wherever he is. We were at Lyd, and almost the entire family turned up on their bikes as well. We're cheering from the side of the commentary box, and there's always a lot of support for Filip, and I'm sure he'll be bemoaning that issue. But of course, all things can happen. All things can happen in racing. I'm sure he'll come back stronger. So we've got plenty more coming up we've got plenty more coming up this weekend, and luckily we've just seen that Noah Guillory is up on his feet, so it is great to see. It was a heavy tumble for Noah.
Yeah, that's good news.
And he is walking away under his own steam, a little bit shaken up. It's a corner that just caught him out, just had a wobble, and unfortunately taking that tumble. But good to see Noah back on his feet, and everyone with a smile on their face. Just precautionary measures, medics checking him over. I'm sure he'll go over to the paramedics and just have a quick check over to make sure he's okay, because I'm sure, as you can see, he's walking a little bit gingerly there, patches a little bit of bang, especially to the hip. It's a nasty fall down there. It's a deceptively quick corner there.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's the trouble you can sometimes get with these kart circuits. Is and they're all like it. You can't really escape it. Is that they don't have the big runoff, the big gravel traps that you'll have on the big circuits. And sometimes if you have a crash with somewhere with not a lot of runoff, you end up into a tyre wall or a tyre barrier, and it can wind you, and you can come back a bit battered and bruised. And I think that's what's happened to Noah Guillory there. So it was a little bit worrying at one point because he was lying down and wasn't getting up, but he's up and walking now. So just a little bit winded, I think, and probably will have a few bruises in the morning. Good
to see Noah back on his feet, and he was running well in that one, and I'm sure he'll come back stronger. So, well, next up, now that we've got our 70s race out of the way, they will be back out later, so make sure you tune in for that one. Of course, it's the premier class at FAB-Racing. We've got the Mini F1 sidecars, and sidecars which are exclusively driven by crazy people, and exclusively ridden by equally crazy people, if not more. And it has been a thrill ride to watch these guys, because they really do put on a show every single time they go out there. We've seen you'd often think they want to look after each other when they're out there, especially these drivers. Look after your passenger, make sure that they stay on the entire time. No, not at all.
To the end of the
race.
Yeah,
if anything, it's quite the opposite. They're quite happy to make sure they go out there, panel bashing.
You were saying that when you went on the sidecar, that Adrian Emps was saying to you that he has to gun it, and he had to go quickly for you to stay on.
Yeah, and especially because where I did it, when I had the pleasure of having a go at Rowrah, it had been raining, so you need to try and maintain the speed to make sure the engine doesn't flood. So he was like, I've just got to go.
So is that what you didn't do with John Hosker's outfit?
Well, clearly. John actually half spun it because he just tried to put so much power into one of the hairpin. And I do thank John, because John's was actually a lot easier to sit. I'm not sure. Obviously, you got a chance to go on John Hosker's, and it's effectively just a large plate that you sit on with a much easier handle. Adrian Ebbs is you almost sit in this cocoon, and you lean over the back of Adrian to hold on. And unfortunately, Claire has got a hand injury, and we'll see if I don't believe she's going out. I'll double check, because I can see Aid definitely rolling out onto the circuit. And has he got a new passenger? I believe he might have. Is that Claire? It might actually. I think it is. So it might actually be Claire that perhaps he couldn't find. Jamie King and Rossi Banham, who had a go at. That is Claire Ebbs on the side. So well done, Claire, because her hand is as swollen and purple. Unfortunately, she caught it whilst lifting the bike yesterday, and it's really not looking in good shape. And she's equally suffering with a torn ACL in her knee. So a
shake of the head has to go towards Jamie King and Rossi Banham for not jumping on the side of that. If Claire Ems can jump on it with two injuries, then I'm sure one of those two could have done it.
Exactly. Yeah. And Jamie was clearly thinking about his championship in the Moto team rather than his life of perhaps being thrown off to the side. But Adems is a very safe driver, and I'm sure he'll be looking after Claire as they go around this one. But it will be the 26. As usual, the bike at the front leading the way. Mick Williams, Michael Elms, the championship leaders, multi-time champions, and have won every race of every round so far this season. So seemingly unbeatable. We'll see if they can be beaten in this one. It will be the green streets of Jason and Leo that will be having a go off the line on that 90 machine, that electric blue and black bike. And Jason, I was having a chat with him back at Rara as well, and he was desperately trying to get me and you to have a go and to set some time lapse. Unfortunately, we couldn't get it done for him. I'm actually quite grateful, because it looks quite a tricky circuit to be a passenger here. It's Ellough Park, and so they will be in second. Adrian and Claire Ems in third, with Mark Parker in fourth, Vince Bailey and John Keats in fifth and sixth position, with Scott Jewett on the 333 and Carl Masters on the 111 in seventh and eighth. And it's good to see a couple more. We haven't seen Scott and we haven't seen Kyle for a few rounds, so it's good to see these sidecars back in action out on circuit. So watch out for the racing today, because yesterday we had changes for the podium on the final lap. We saw the change between Mark Parker and Adrian Ems on that final lap for third position. It was Mick Williams and Michael Elms that took the win ahead of the green streets. And can they make it another win, and as they romp towards another championship here in the Mini F1 sidecars? They effectively will need 1 point going into the next round. They just need one singular point next time out, but this time with lights on, pause, lights out. It's a bit of a creep there from fourth position with Mark Parker, but behind it is still, or in front I should say, it is the leaders, it is the pole sitters, and it is your championship first place holders, 26 leading away. There goes the 90 and the 76 up ahead of the 89 and John Keats, and they're going to get side by side, as you can see the lean there and the lean angle from so many of these different riders using their different types of riding, different types of leans. You can see some almost scraping their backside along the circuit, some just using their shoulders, and equally if you look on the right hand side, almost scraping the helmets along the ground. It goes up, especially the likes of the 89 machine. And Tristan, it's a good getaway from everyone so far. Yeah, it was a couple of outfits at the back that just struggled off the line, but these guys at the front, Mick Williams, Michael Elms, they've already got a commanding lead at the front of this race ahead of Jason and Leo Greenstreet. There's some moves being made a little bit further back there as Mark Parker going side by side with another outfit. You can see John Keats just ahead of them. That is third place for John Keats, and this is the battle for third now between the 89 of John Keats and the number 230 of Mark Parker. So he's defending that with his life is John Keats, and his passenger for finding his way all the way off the side of the outfit. And there's a change for third place as Mark Parker sends it up the inside at Shoemakers. Good move there for Mark Parker as he gets down the inside into fourth, and John Keats now down into fifth and holding off Vince Bailey, and Vince Bailey on the A bike, the black bike behind. And John Keats on the 89 making his return. I believe they missed the last round. A little bit of a lift there from the tyre as the passenger tries to change. Oh, big wobble as the passenger tries to change his body weight. He's going to go off wide, uses the pit lane entry, and he's going to perhaps lose a little bit of time here. He's going to get lucky not to come into contact. Can he get it slowed down? He does. Luckily there for Vince Bailey, just got bodied a little bit by the 89 machine, just cutting across that chicane. And well, luckily there they managed to just get out of the throttle before they headed into that tyre wall.
Drama here between those two, and that was a very hairy moment indeed. And now he's going to be trying to get back onto the rear wheel as Vince Bailey is going to put the hammer down to see if he can catch up with the number 89 of John Keats again and get some revenge on that red outfit. So it's between those two. Those are the two on screen at the moment, but Mick Williams and Michael Elms are flying out the front 3 seconds a lap faster than anyone else, just as we saw yesterday, just as we've seen all season, just as we've seen last season. And they're setting records here in the FAB-Racing Championships. They're looking strong to go on and win every single race of the season. They've done it so far, and they're looking strong here at Ellough Park.
Yeah, and I don't believe they managed to do it last season. I think they had an issue at Red Lodge and one of the races, so they've not yet taken a clean sweep. So will they be able to win every single race? It's a good race so far for the Green Streets in second position, and equally, and you must say at the moment, if all things go to plan, what a result for the Ems pairing with Claire with that pretty nasty injury to her hand, holding on to third position. However, they are being caught by the 230 of Mark Parker, and that's the battle that we saw that went right down to the wire in the race yesterday. And it is 4 laps left to go, about 3.5, because the 26 is coming down towards the second chain, sliding it in through the dogleg hairpin, and the 89 still out battling away. In fact, Vince Bailey, after taking that route across the grass, is caught back up to the 89 of John Keats, as there is the 76 of Adrian and Claire Ems. Claire just grazing the tyre wall. Lovely line there from Ade through the corner, and they sweep their way through. And the pair from Newcastle upon Lyme and making their way in towards 3 laps left to go on that 76. However, they are being caught once again by the 230, and will we see deja vu? Exactly what we saw yesterday with the positions currently held, except for it was the 230 that got past the 76 in the last lap for that final step on the podium.
Adrian and Claire Ems, what a heroic effort from this pairing. Was looking as if that Adrian Ems was going to have to change his passenger during the lunch break, but no, we still have the Adrian and Claire pairing out there in third place currently. But Mark Parker is really putting the hammer down now, and he's closing that gap down to Adrian and Claire Ems. So it's between these two to be able to defend that final spot on this podium for race 2 for the Mini F1 sidecars. And side by side between these two again as Vince Bailey tries to go round the outside of John Keats. They're side by side again, and they're going to go down to the dogleg hairpin. Is there going to be drama again through here? They're through nice and tidily this time round.
I was looking through between my fingers there. That was incredibly close. And it's also close between third position. It's going to go 2 laps left to go. And here's the battle for the podium. And down the inside will go to 230. Can he get the move done? No. Ade covers the door, so he's going to shut that wide on the 230. Mark Parker is going to have to think about another position, and he's going to go right down to the wire. So we've got a battle between third and fourth. We've got a battle between fifth and sixth. And Vince Bailey, who's possibly going to want to get a place back after being shown the door. And here we go down the inside, a late move. Is there going to be contact between the pair? There is. Panel bashing. You don't want to do it there. There's going to be passengers' heads right in the wrong position, but it is the 89 that still holds on to the place, and you can afford to do it in these. You've got a little bit more leeway than if you're on 2 wheels, but you don't really want to be putting anyone in undue risk, and well, they're putting it all on the line. The battle's still going on as we go on to the final lap of the race, with the 26th leading away, the Red Bull delivery, Mick Williams and Michael Elms. The Green Streets coming through to start their final lap in second position. Then there's the battle for third. It's coming down to the final lap once again. Mark Parker getting a really good run out on Adrian Ems into the final, or into the first corner. But here comes the 26. Once again, supreme on the bike and making their way through the final lap. and they've got just a few more corners left to go to add another 25 points to their championship tally and another medal to take home. They actually end up bringing their medals back at the end of the season because they just get given them season after season, but the battles are still going on as they make their way around the final few corners, and it's the 26 away from everyone else. The green streets are just approaching the dogleg hairpin now, but it will be for the final time, and to the checker it is the 26 Mick Williams and Michael Elms. What a result once again, just supreme riding. Behind it's going to go down to the wire. The green street's going to come home in second. Adrian and Claire Elms have just got to hold on. Aidan's done a fantastic job of putting that bike in all the right places. Mark is definitely putting the pressure on. In fact, Mark gets a really good run out the penultimate corner. They're going to go side by side to the line, but it's going to be the Ems pairing holding on for a podium here. What a result for the Ems there. Really, really well deserved, and a huge amount of respect to Claire. Behind it's Vince Bailey that does get past the 89, and so Vince Bailey coming home in 5th, John Keats in 6th, and it looks as though we lost Carl Masters the 111 and Scott Jewett the 333 earlier on in that one.
Yeah, take a breath, Gareth. There was a lot of talking towards the end of that one, and a lot going on in this mini F1 sidecar race. And what a victory for the number 26 of Mick Williams and Michael Elms. Like we said, masters in their craft. They're looking for 3 out of 3 again this weekend. They've had 3 out of 3 for every round so far as the riders watch on the side of the circuit, and they're quite a spectacle, are the mini F1 sidecars. So we look forward to see that race 3. They're going to be the final race of the weekend later on today, so stay tuned for that a little bit later on. And it's going to be the final race ever in the FAB-Racing Mini Bike British Championships for our very own Gareth Hall.
Yes, yeah, it's unfortunately I will be missing the final round, which is a bit of a shame because of course championships all to be decided at Candale in South Wales in 2 weeks time. So of course you can still tune in. Tristan will be there, and he will be bringing you away, and the argument that we usually have at the end of the season, who's going to call the final lap of the championships, well, unfortunately, it's by the sound of it, it's going to go to you, and you're going to get the 70s off me once again. But
you're not bitter about that.
No, not at all. As I could see, he almost covered the final 3 laps of the last season to make sure that he managed to call Lucas Brown winning that championship. But yeah, it has been a sublime season. I have absolutely loved every single minute of covering Fab. Came into this, had no idea about bikes, completely new to it. I'd only ever done sim commentary previously, and had such a laugh with yourself and enjoyed every moment getting used to how everything works and everyone in the paddock. And definitely this season, I think we were talking about it yesterday evening, the paddock has just been so much fun to be around this season. Everyone's just coming up and having a chat with us, having a laugh with us, and just being a lot more friendly. Yeah,
such a warm and welcoming paddock here in the FAB-Racing Championships, all the way through. All the riders and parents of the junior categories, all really friendly, and equally the seniors are always they're here for a laugh, aren't they? So they're always very warm and welcoming here in the FAB-Racing Mini Bike British Championship paddock. But now our attention turns to the AC40 Pros. These are the Mini Moto machines, 40cc air-cooled bikes. It's going to be Archie O'Brien who's lining up on pole position for this one, a dominant force in this category. But Austin Johnson picked up a win earlier on in the day, and he's in second place on this grid, ahead of Finley Polhill in third. Byron Johnson in fourth, ahead of Lewis Hull, who rounds out your top 5 with Wilson Dilks in sixth. On row 4, the final row of the grid, it's Sam Gardner who fronts that one on the number 56 Mini Moto, just ahead of the number 111 of Callum Maxwell, who rounds out your grid in 8th position for this AC40 Pro race. The final race of the weekend here at Ellough Park for the AC40 Pros. We've had one win for Archie O'Brien, we've had one win for Austin Johnson. Who's it going to be this time around?
Yeah, it's this is a fascinating watch, because we know the Johnson brothers, both Austin and Byron, get really solid starts. Finley Polhill has been looking very racy all weekend long on that fluoro orange bike, the 199. But what can the championship leader, the 91 Archie O'Brien, with that Spider-Man themed lid on pole position 2. Can he send it down to a turn on Lewis Hull? He had a good start earlier on today. What do we see as we got lights on? Race 3, AC40 Pros is lights off, and it's a good start from Austin Johnson and Finlay Polehill. Polehill into second position. Archie O'Brien just about holds on to third. But once again, it's not a great start for Archie here in the Mini Motos. He's been struggling with starts all weekend long, but Austin hopping up into the lead. And now Archie O'Brien getting down the inside of Finlay Polehill. Can he go down into second position? He does, and Byron just getting his nose cut off there by Finlay Polehill. So Archie getting back up into second place. Can he go on the hunt for Austin Johnson?
O'Brien's in a hurry this time. He doesn't want to let Austin Johnson get away like he did in race 2 earlier on today. And now Archie O'Brien is going to do all he can to make sure he can stay onto the rear wheel of Austin Johnson. Byron Johnson's up there as well. He's looking strong in 4th place in this race, but it's Finlay Polehill on the fluorescent Mini Moto, fluorescent orange, that is in 3rd place currently in this race. But it's Johnson, Archie O'Brien and Finlay Polehill. Archie O'Brien's doing all he can to try and reel in that gap, and he's looking really menacing on that little number 91. Of course, he is your championship leader here for the AC40 Pros, also in the LC40 Elites as well, so he's doing well in both of these categories, and now looking really strong in this race. And he's right on the rear wheel of Austin Johnson now. Austin has a little look over his shoulder. He's going to see that Archie O'Brien is right there, and when you know a rider is as strong, as smooth, as consistent as Archie O'Brien is, you're going to worry if you see him over your shoulder.
Yeah, absolutely. So Archie O'Brien, of course, took the opening first 9 races of the season, so no stranger to the top step of the podium. Austin Johnson, he's picked up a couple, and he'll I'm sure be absolutely delighted with that win that he picked up in race 2 earlier. He just needs to hold off Archie O'Brien, because they've started to break away now from Finlay Polehill in 3rd position. Finlay, who's got Byron Johnson for company. Lewis Hull has got Wilson Dilks equally snatched to the back of his tire. Oh, that's Polehill down at exit of turn 1. So a real shame there for Finlay Polehill. You can see their visor up there, perhaps waiting to get that bike restarted. What a shame for Finlay. He was running very nicely indeed in P3, so that's going to promote Byron Johnson now up into the podium position. So both Johnson brothers up onto the podium. Austin, however, hands full with Archie O'Brien. Archie O'Brien looking markedly closer this time around, starting to put the pressure down, but Austin knows that he can beat Archie O'Brien. He's already done it once today. He just needs to hold off the fast running 91 machine that is leading away in the championship. He was looking at sewing up this weekend. It looks as though he's going to have to wait until Handau in South Wales in 2 weeks' time, that double point weekend. But Austin still in the lead of this one. Byron takes a glance behind, because Lewis Hull is now sniffing a podium.
Yeah, Lewis Hull's always on the bridge of that podium is the little Lewis Hull. He's just slightly taller than the rest of the field, and it helps him throughout the corners but hinders him down the straights, and he's going to be trying to find a way past Byron Johnson for this 3rd place. This is now the battle for 3rd, with Finlay Polehill crashing out, and Finlay Polehill hasn't rejoined this race. And of course your 2nd place man in the championship as well, with Archie O'Brien leading it away out the front. But it is Byron Johnson now who's defending this 3rd place from Lewis Hull, and Wilson Dilks in there as well. Wilson, a rider we've seen join the fray here at Ellough Park. But this battle for the lead, then, it's Austin Johnson and Archie O'Brien. Which way is it going to go? They're matching each other pretty closely for pace at the front of this race. As yellow flags through here, so no passing through here. Still 5 laps to go anyway, so anything can happen.
It looks very menacing, doesn't it? The Spider-Man eyes on Archie O'Brien's lid. You see him appearing from behind Austin Johnson, and Austin has a quick glance behind. There you go, another quick glance. He knows he'll be able to hear that the engine from the 40cc of Archie O'Brien just behind him, but he just knows you've got to hold your line, to hold every apex. Make sure, if you're going to let Archie come up towards you, to make him go the long way around. Don't make it easy. Shut every single door, and that's exactly what Austin is doing, hugging every apex and making it incredibly difficult. Archie O'Brien with 4 laps left to go as they take the line now, knows that he would lose the overall win in category. I think it would go to Austin. If Austin wins this race, it would be 2-1 to Austin, so he would lose. Austin would be the overall race winner of the weekend. But Archie O'Brien, here we go. Does he think about a move? He thinks to the inside. Austin covers him off, but Archie O'Brien looking very, very close indeed. Can he make a move into the hairpin? He's going down the inside. Austin just holds him off. You can see Archie just prodding and probing, trying to find that space.
Yeah, he's trying to find a way through on Austin Johnson. He's had a little look. He's lost a bit of time doing that, though. When he makes a move, he needs to make a move stick. He can't be having any half-hearted efforts around this circuit. He needs to make sure once he's underneath Austin Johnson, he's through, because he's lost a little bit of time now, and he's going to have to spend a little bit of time reeling that back in. Still 4 laps to go in this one. Fastest lap of the race last time round went to Archie O'Brien, so he's really, really pushing to try and get this victory here in the AC40 Pros, and it's not too far away from his pole position time as well. 53.7 last time round for Austin Johnson. He now has the fastest lap of the race, but it's between these two for the victory. Which way is it going to go? The battle for third is still there between Johnson, Hull and Dilks, but Byron Johnson just about has the advantage at the moment. But now this battle for the other Johnson that has the advantage for the race lead ahead of Archie O'Brien, so it could go either way between those two with 3 laps to go. Here again is your battle for third place. Byron Johnson's just slightly pulled away from these guys now, but not a gap that he can rest on. No,
looks as though Lewis Hull is having to start to look behind him, because Wilson Dilks is starting to the very racy as they're about to start the penultimate lap of the race. And it is still Austin Johnson and Archie O'Brien. The battle still going on between 3rd, 4th and 5th between Byron Johnson, Lewis Hull and Wilson Dilks. As I look down at my timing screen, get ready to see the gap between all 3 of them, because it's going to be less than a second as they flash across the line. It's 0.6 of a second splitting 3, 4 and 5 as Byron holding on to the podium position for now. Lewis Hull, as you say, he wants to be back on the podium. He's managed to take home 1 this season, a 3rd place finish back at Clay Pigeon in race 1. Since then, he's unfortunately wasn't able to attend Rowra, and there was a couple of 5th positions up Clay Pigeon as well. So it's a good run here, solid amount of points in championship for Lewis Hull, and I'm sure he'll be looking at pushing on in 2022. But he's got Wilson Dilks now thinking about a move into the hairpin, and now in through the exit into the chicane section towards Alan Wode's hairpin, a long hairpin where they're on that lean angle. And there we go, Archie O'Brien going for the move for the lead. Can Austin get back to the inside? He does, under and over there for Austin Johnson. So we go last lap. There was Archie O'Brien trying to find and make that move done, but it didn't quite work.
So last lap time, just half a lap for these guys, and this will decide the race victory, the final race victory for these guys, and this will decide the overall race winner of the weekend as well. But it's Austin Johnson that has the lead at the moment, and he's got a little bit of breathing space now. Is O'Brien too far to be able to make a move? He's going to have to get a really, really good run through here to be able to have a look down at the hairpin. Just 2 more corners to go after this one. Can he get a good drive out here and have a look up the inside at the penultimate corner? Nowhere near close enough. Now it's going to be a drag to the line. He's got the power on, but it's not going to be good enough. It's going to be Austin Johnson that takes 2 wins from 2 on Sunday, with Archie O'Brien in 2nd place, picking up 2 second places and a victory yesterday. But who's going to get this battle for 3rd? It's Byron Johnson that's going real defensive into the penultimate corner, and he's got a slight weight advantage, so if it's going to be a drag to line, it's going to go the way of Byron Johnson in 3rd, Lewis Hull in 4th and Wilson Dilks in 5th place.
Yeah, what a result there for Austin Johnson. Holds off Archie O'Brien, championship leader, by a 1/10 of a second. Good result, good race, and solid points there. You can see Austin taking a look up there. He had to work for that one. Archie got down the inside into turn 1, and luckily for Austin, he just managed to get the switch back and do the under and over, held on to the lead, and he takes the race win ahead of Archie O'Brien. Byron Johnson, Austin's younger brother, in 3rd position, takes that by 0.2 of a second, and then 0.3 back to Wilson Dilks. So the battle then all the way throughout the field. Sam Gardner comes home in 6th, Callum Maxwell in 7th. Unfortunately, Finley Polhill going down at turn 1 is out of that one. In fact, Finley back on his bike now, just rolling, trying to get it around. And there's Rossi Bannon putting out some more dance moves into the pit lane, and he's turned marshal. He's put a bit of marshalling on, as usually what we see from Charlie Nesbitt when he comes in front, puts his high vis on, which he should do, of course. Every marshal high vis on. I'm sure he'll be letting all the rookies know when they can leave, because that's a very serious look from Rossi, and he's clearly concentrating very hard.
Yeah, he's like I say, following in the footsteps of Charlie Nesbitt is Rossi Bannon, and you're not going to miss him with that high vis on, as he's there to help out here in the AC40 rookies that are coming up next here in the FAB-Racing Mini Bike British Championships. Mototechniks round 6 at Ellough Park. Next up, it's degraduating from the pros to the rookies. That's it. That is a word, isn't it? Degraduating?
I don't know.
I don't think it is. It's not.
Well, if it isn't, then it is now. It's like big moves with Tristan Finocchiaro. You can make up your own vocabulary. Surely. Yeah. Everyone else will believe
if a move is big, it's big.
Exactly. So out onto the circuit come the AC40 rookies, and they'll be making their way into the third and final race of the weekend here, as Tristan said, for the Mototechniks round 6 of the FAB-Racing Mini Bike British Championship here from Ellough Park. My name is Gareth Hall. I'm being joined by Tristan Finocchiaro. You can find me over on Twitter at GT2_driving. You can find Tristan at SpagBog58, and of course you are listening live on FAB Racing's YouTube and on their Facebook page, or over on motorsport.radio, the world's only 24/7 dedicated motorsport radio station, with all things from 2 wheels to 3 to 4 to 5 and beyond, with all things news, stories, music, and everything you want to get your motorsport or your motorsport fandom into. Head over to motorsport.radio, the website, to find out all about it. We've now got rookie action, as it will be Oliver Hall leading us away for this one. He is on pole position, looking at taking home a hat-trick of victories, and almost securing that championship going into the final round. He is your pole sitter ahead of Ollie O'Gorman in second position, Bradley Curtis in third with Rex Austin in fourth, Matthew Thomas in fifth with Beth Ashby in sixth, Harley Baker in seventh with Speed Pendergast in eighth, Jensen Bishop in ninth and Chloe Gleeson in 10th, with Annabelle McCarthy, who had a really solid run in race 2, ended up 4th in 11th position, Josh Perkins in 12th, Seth Mason Hayward in 13th, and Peyton Richards 14th. Matt Jennings and Taylor Tomlinson are 15th and 16th, with Taylor Riley in 17th, Archie Hooper in 18th, with Daisy Polden in 19th, Sebastian Gaslowski in 20th, and then we have, just outside as I check my second sheet, we've got Lucy Curtis, there we go, in 21st position, and Oliver Wilson in 22nd, in a massive grid for the rookies, which is great to see these guys here. Of course, all in their first, or mostly in their first year of racing, 6 years and up for these guys. They all have a restrictor plate on the exhaust just to taper it off a little bit compared to the pros and the LCs. However, they will still do upwards of 40-50 miles an hour, which is terrifying if you think they're only 6 years old.
Yeah, what a turnout we have for the AC40 rookies, and yeah, like you say, these bikes are quick enough if you're only 6 years old. And yeah, what a turnout we have for these guys. A nice packed grid, 22 riders on this grid for the AC40 rookies, a mix of male and female riders in this category, and it is these guys are the future of British motorcycle racing as they get away for their first lap of the race, and it's a good start there from the number 991 of Rex Austin. Oh, there's a big crash at turn 1 as well. There's a couple of riders that have gone down there just trying to make sure that it doesn't get hit. So that's Archie Hooper, who unfortunately had some bad luck earlier on in race 1 as well. So not the race that he would have wanted at all. But now up the inside for the lead goes Oliver Hall, and then there's a change of position a little bit further back. That's Matthew Thomas going up the inside of Ollie O'Gorman. Ollie O'Gorman trying to bite back, can't quite make that one stick this time round. Oliver Hall then it is that leads with Rex Austin and Matthew Thomas. Yeah,
Ollie O'Gorman having his best run as Archie Hooper manages to get that bike underway, which is good to see. Oliver Hall leading away. Ollie O'Gorman having his best round so far of the season since we've seen Ollie in the championship. He picked up a third place back at the second round of the season at Lydd, but since then he's been fighting in the mid-pack, that sort of 5th to 8th position, but now solidly on the podium for the majority of the season, majority of the round, my apologies. But it is Oliver Hall leading away now from Rex Austin in a second position. Matt Thomas now ahead of Ollie O'Gorman, Brad Curtis, Beth Ashby and Chloe Gleeson. Chloe having a really good start from 10th up to 7th on lap 1. Speed Pendergast holding 8th, Annabelle McCarthy's made some moves. She's moved up from 11th into 9th, and Harley Baker in 10th.
Oliver Hall then 1.1 seconds it was across the line, but Rex Austin had the fastest lap from a standing start. But yeah, Oliver Hall flying away at the front of the race on that number 3 machine, sorry. And a special weekend for Oliver Hall this weekend, and he's got picked up 2 wins from 2 so far. Can he make it a third? Rex Austin is going to try all he can to make sure that Oliver Hall doesn't take 3 from 3, but it's Rex Austin now who is leading the battle for second, ahead of Matthew Thomas, who's just ahead of Ollie O'Gorman. Ollie will be wanting to pick up a podium position. Yeah,
as Oliver Hall crosses the line fastest lap of the race at 1:01.991. It's around about 0.2 of a second faster than Rex Austin last round, so Oliver extending that gap now up to 1.2 seconds. A really solid ride from the young man from Wellingborough. And Oliver doing a good job so far, and he's looking at making a hat-trick, which is exactly what Dad was hoping for when we were speaking to him earlier on in the weekend. I'd love him to come home with a hat-trick win, so we don't have to worry too much about the championship coming into the final round of the season. Well, Oliver's doing the job out on circuit, and exactly what he needed to do. And in fact, all he's doing now is he's extending corner for corner and breaking that gap up to Rex Austin. Rex doing a solid weekend so far, and a very, very nice amount of running for Rex Austin, who's in his first season here in FAB, and he's been on the podium. He even picked up a win back at Rowra, and Rex having once again a solid run in second position, a little bit further behind Oliver. Oliver, of course, did last season in the Rookies Cup, which saw the likes of course, Byron and Austin Johnson. It saw Finley Polehill in it, and Oliver clearly learning from those guys, and I'm sure he'll be thinking about moving on to the pros and being competitive in that into the next few years. Behind, of course, you've got the likes of Rex Austin, Matt Thomas, Ollie O'Gorman, Brad Curtis, Beth Ashby, of course, only FAB's second ever female race winner after Holly Harris last year. Beth Ashby picking up a race victory this season as well, back at Clay Pigeon. Chloe Gleeson having a good run in 8th position. Speed Pennegar now up to 7th. Annabelle McCarthy holding position in 8th. However, she's right on the tail of Chloe Gleeson. And then Harley Baker in 10th position. Jensen Bishop in 11th is a few seconds behind, and the field then spreads out somewhat behind that as Oliver Hall starts to make his way up. That's getting up past Archie Hooper. Of course, Archie having that full on lap 1, so Oliver now puts a bike in between himself and the chasing pack of Rex Austin and Matt Thomas. However, you can see Oliver, he's almost a straight ahead of everyone else.
Yeah, he's got quite a big margin at the front now. 5 seconds he has over Rex Austin, and Rex has about a second ahead of Matthew Thomas. There's bikes everywhere here, around the outside, up the inside. There's a few riders being a bit of lap traffic. Zach Speed Pennegar trying to go up the inside of one of the riders there, isn't quite able to make the move stick. So that's Zach Speed Pennegar trying to take 7th place away from Annabelle McCarthy on that little AC40 rookie bike.
So I think Annabelle McCarthy on the 113 has had a brilliant a bit of fortune there with all that chaos that went into turn 1. I think she's just jumped up 2 positions, so we'll find out when they cross the line, because what a solid run from the 113, the pink and white bike of Annabelle McCarthy. She picked up a 4th place earlier on in the day, matching her best result of the season as they make their way past Archie Hooper. So a really, really good run for Annabelle. She's definitely one to watch in the future. She's got so much quicker this season. It's fantastic to watch the ladies in this category. And we started off the season with 1. We've now, I believe, I've got 4 or 5 of them. So it's really, really, it's brilliant to see that the girls are challenging the boys here. And Annabelle McCarthy, Beth Ashby, Chloe Gleeson, Lucy Curtis, all in there, of course, following the likes of Holly Harris, who's moved up to the British Talent Cup now, and stamping their name down, because Annabelle McCarthy now up to 5th position.
And all the meanwhile, Oliver Hall extending that lead out the front of this race, now up to 7.2 seconds, a good 2 seconds a lap quicker than anyone else on circuit at the moment. Absolute sheer dominance from Oliver Hall here for the final race of the weekend. But there's a battle brewing for second place as well as Matthew Thomas has caught the number 911 of Rex Austin, and from bad to worse it goes for Archie Hooper, who unfortunately has suffered from more bad luck here at the final race of the AC40 Rookies.
Yep, so with 2 laps left to go, Oliver Hall leading away now. The gap is 9 seconds. Oliver has absolutely pulled the ripcord and just disappeared in this one. He's decided to just leave everyone in his wake and in the dust, and he's charging up, and of course he's just got to make his way around the final around a lap and a half. Behind it could be anyone, because Rex Austin has now got Matthew Thomas for company around about 0.3 of a second behind, but Oliver Hall leading away. As you say, a special weekend for him, and exactly what he wanted to do. He wanted to do it for his family, and he's done exactly that. He needs to keep it on 2 wheels for the final lap, and he'll make it a hat-trick of victories and be the first time that he's done that since the first round of the season back at Lid. It's been a solid run here for Oliver. You've got to take your hat off to him. It's really, really commendable. And we've got a yellow flag out on the circuit as well, so obviously everyone's just going to have to slow. That's Archie Hooper that's pulled off to the side of the circuit at the final corner. That bike not wanting to go any further, so final lap for Oliver Hall. There's Archie Hooper off to the side. Yeah, it really hasn't been a great weekend for Archie Hooper. I'm sure he'll come back strong in the final round of the season, that double point weekend at Llandow in South Wales in 2 weeks' time. However, Oliver Hall is charging towards this championship, and surely, if all things go to plan, he will be able to sew it up, perhaps even in the first race of the weekend over at Llandow. Yeah, all he'll need to do at Llandow is score points and make sure he's scoring more points than his competitors, but doesn't even need to. Just make sure he needs to make sure he's finishing those races with just a few more corners to go, and he's going to take 3 wins from 3 for the number 3. Just carves his way through the lapped traffic for the final 3 corners here for race 3 at the Mototechniks round 6 at Ellough Park for the FAB-Racing Mini Bikes British Championships, and it's going to be Oliver Hall that takes the hat-trick. A special weekend for him, and he's elated with that one. But who's it going to be that's going to take that second place? It looks as if Rex Austin has just about hung on to it, but it's going to be a drag to the line between Rex Austin and Matthew Thomas, and it is going to be Rex Austin that takes second, Matthew Thomas in third, and Annabelle McCarthy just about managed to catch those guys in fourth, with Curtis in 6th and Bethany Ashby in 6th, and Ollie O'Gorman managed to fall down to 7th there, so something happened to him on the closing stages of the race. Someone needs to ask Annabelle McCarthy how to overtake it around here, because she's made her way up from 11th into 4th in the previous 2 races. So what a brilliant run there from her. I'm sure she'll be pretty gutted. I just had a quick glance in that final lap out the commentary window of her trying to go down the inside of Matthew Thomas. Just couldn't quite do it, had to back out of the move, and she finishes in 4th. But it is Rex Austin in 2nd, Matthew Thomas in 3rd, Annabelle McCarthy in 4th, Bradley Curtis in 5th, with Beth Ashby in 6th, Ollie O'Gorman, Chloe Gleeson, Holly Baker and Speed Pendergast losing some positions on that last lap down to 10th position. And thus ends the AC40 Rookies. Oliver Hall, hat-trick winner. Is that the first hat-trick winner of the weekend? I believe it is. So
yes, it's the first hat-trick of the weekend.
Yeah, so Oliver takes the 3 from 3. So we'll see if the likes of Rossi Ballum can do so in the pit bikes, and Casey O'Gorman I think is on for it in the extreme.
Casey O'Gorman, and the 70s. Ethan Sparks, he
could do, so we could have plenty of hat-tricks, so that's something we don't often see. So is everyone tucking into a bit of lunch here? And
I wouldn't mind a bit of that.
I was going to say, you missed out. We were too busy going over and watching Jay King be thrown around a circuit by ADMs on the Sidecar. So next up we will go on to, we stay with some mini motos. We go over to the upper end of the Mini Moto action. It's the LC40 Elites, as we've got some riders down. We're just having a quick chat with each other then. So I think that's Noah Guillory, isn't it?
It's nice to see him, that he's up and okay,
having a smile on his face after a bit of a nasty incident earlier on in the day, as Clayton Edmonds there as well. And it's been a pretty solid day. I do enjoy it. I think it's a fantastic circuit. You can see everyone behind us enjoying it, and it's really, really good to see people here enjoying themselves. So we've been sort of starved of people watching these events. We've only really had people that needed to be here, and now finally we've got an actual crowd watching.
Yeah, it's really, like I say, really nice to see that. Really nice to see people back around the paddock and watching the events. There's so much action going on circuit, especially this weekend and all through this season. And we've got a whole more host of races coming up for the rest of the day. But the next up is these LC40 Elites as they get away for their green flag lap. And it's going to be the two Archies that front the grid with the number 91 of Archie O'Brien on pole position. Archie Gibbs is going to line up just next to him in the number 3 in second place. Row 2 is fronted by the number 27 of Austin Johnson in third place, ahead of the number 7 of Luke Fitcher in fourth. The number 199, Finley Polehill, he's fifth place on the grid, ahead of Austin Johnson's brother Byron on the number 37 in sixth. And the final row of the grid goes to Sam Gardner on the number 56, with the number 111 of Callum Maxwell just rounding out your grid in 8th place on this grid for the LC40 Elites. And it's the two Archies on screen, the two Archies at the front of the grid, and the two Archies that are going to be battling for this final win of the weekend for the LC40 Elites. Can Archie O'Brien make it 3 from 3?
It's interesting. This is where, I mean, we've seen Archie O'Brien in the LCs having maybe a little bit more luck and pace than we've seen in the AC40s. He seems to have these races where he's not particularly happy in his pro race, and then obviously comes out with a little bit of fire in his belly for the LC40 Elites and takes off a little bit more. So I think Archie Gibbs has got a bit of a hard task, because surely Archie O'Brien is going to want to end the weekend on a high as we get ready to kick off their third and final race of the weekend. Lights on, lights off, and down towards turn 1 goes Archie O'Brien. Fantastic start, much better from the 91. Archie Gibbs into hold second position. Then you've got the Johnson brothers, Austin and Byron, holding third and fourth position ahead of Luke Fitcher into fifth. Then we've got finally Finley Polehill in sixth, Sam Gardner and Callum Maxwell.
So the two Archies, like we said, out the front of this one, but don't count out Austin Johnson. Had a bit of bad luck earlier on in the LC40 Elites, but has picked up 2 wins this weekend in the AC40 Pros, but they're glued together at the front, the two Archies. But now look at Luke Fitcher making a move up the inside of the number 27 of Byron Johnson. So a lot of moves happening on this first lap here for the final race of the weekend here at Ellough Park. It's round 6. There's one more round to go. It's going to be double points at Clandau, but they're not thinking about that at the moment. It's all about this final race of the weekend at Ellough Park, and it's Archie O'Brien that leads ahead of Archie Gibbs. O'Brien wanted to get 6 wins from 6. It's not going to happen because he finished second twice in the AC40 Pros, but could pick up the hat-trick here in the LC40 Elites if he can get the better of Archie Gibbs. Archie Gibbs had a little look up the inside there, not quite going to be on this lap, and they're already pulling away from Austin Johnson, who's in a bit of a lonely third place already. Luke Fitcher is going to be hungry for a podium, and he's going to be trying to catch the likes of the number 27 of Austin Johnson, who's just dropped off the back of these guys. But number 91, Archie O'Brien, looking really smooth. He's got into his rhythm out the front, and Archie Gibbs is going to have to be scared, because once Archie O'Brien gets into his rhythm, he's so hard to stick with. But if anyone can do it, it's the number 3 of Archie Gibbs.
Yeah, and this is something we were talking about yesterday with Archie getting into his rhythm and getting into his groove, and he told us about it, that I think once he feels a little bit more comfortable on the bike and the race goes in, the nerves start to settle down from the start. Of course, your adrenaline coursing through your body, as that's when he starts to really put the hammer down. But it's the way that he moves around on the bike. You say it's very alike someone that's riding perhaps even a pit bike or something a little bit bigger.
Yeah, he looks like a little lad riding on a little lad on a little bike, but he rides a little bike as if he was riding a big bike. He gets his weight from one side to the other, and if you watch him going in, he makes sure all his weight is on the inside of that bike. He's got his low half wrapped round the bottom of the bike. He's got his front half and his shoulder leaning all the way across the front. Very actually sort of European style of riding, which is brilliant to see, because I mean it is the new style. It is the modern style that all the riders at World Championship are adopting, and you can see him doing it on that little Mini Moto. Gets tucked in down the straights as well. Tries to get himself as small as possible, as least air resistance as possible on that little bike, and he's got a brilliant little style on that number 91 machine, and it helps him down the straights and it helps him through the corners, and that's exactly why he's winning championships and winning races.
And how important is it at this stage of his career, where he's on these mini motos and he's using the skills that he'll be able to transfer so easily up onto the Metro kits and obviously more powerful bikes moving forward, that he's already sort of got that the knowledge of how to transition his body weight from flowing corners one into another.
Well, if you can get the basics right now, then it's going to help you further down the line. And he's nailing his style. He's making sure that he's got that style nailed for later on in his career when he moves up to those big bikes. And once you are moving up to those big bikes, and if you do need to ever change stuff about your style, it's really hard to do, because you've got to try and make it habit. And if it's already habit, then it makes your job easier, because you can just be thinking about your racing. You don't have to be thinking about adapting your style to be able to find even more speed. He's already got that under his belt. Looking at Austin Johnson now, who's picked up 2 wins in the AC40 Pros, currently third here in the LC40 Elites. So moving from the air-cooled to the liquid-cooled bikes and adapting well, picking up trophies and medals all round this weekend in both categories that he's racing in, and also he's racing in 3 categories this weekend, because he's over in the MKGP 50s as well.
Yeah, he is indeed. He's a very busy lad this weekend, and I'm glad to see Austin doing well this weekend, because it does feel in the last few rounds that the luck has maybe not been on his side. A couple of bike issues, and maybe we've even seen him breaking down with a few laps left to go out of decent positions, and so it's good to see Austin getting those wins that he's probably been owed over the season. So and equally Luke Fitcher, who's been glad to be back on the bike after that wrist injury that he suffered back at Clay Pigeon. He's been back on the podium since then, and that's good, because at the start of the season Luke was on the podium in the majority of the opening races. I think it was 9 out of the first 10 races that Luke stood on the podium alongside Archie Gibbs and Archie O'Brien. So he's just off it for the moment. He's a few seconds behind Austin Johnson, but Luke is he's so easy to talk to in the paddock. He's the first one to come up to us in the paddock at the start of the weekend and say hi and how you doing. And equally, he's very analytical. He's much like Archie O'Brien, very analytical, very easy to talk about how their bike is going, how he's feeling with setup, and what he feels like he needs to do to improve.
Yeah, he's, like you say, really, really analytical, and it's really it's strange to see, but it's really impressive to see from such a young age. Of course, this championship for riders 7 to 13 years old, and they're all around that ballpark, and to see such maturity at such a young age is really, really impressive. And now, like we said earlier on, he's got his rhythm down, and with 2.5 laps to go, he's really pulled away ahead of Archie Gibbs, and he's looking really comfortable to pick up 3 wins from 3 here in the LC40 Elites. So we've got a gap between O'Brien and Gibbs. All these guys looking towards the future, looking to the likes of the British Talent Cup and beyond. And we know for a fact Archie Gibbs already trying out gearbox machinery in the MKGP 50s. Archie O'Brien looking to do that next year, so he tells us. Yeah,
and you've got Archie O'Brien is definitely looking to moving up to the Metro Kits.
Oh, and a big bobble there.
Yeah, and luckily it looks as though he's just about got a bit of a gap over Archie O'Brien, so he won't have to worry too much. He had a 1.9 second advantage, but yeah, as you were saying, Archie O'Brien moving up to the Metro Kits next season. He said he might stay on the LCs just to enjoy himself, but definitely focusing on moving on to the geared bikes. And of course, we've seen Archie Gibbs, we've seen both Byron and Austin testing themselves out on a Metro Kit, and Finley Bolehill, who has got a Metro Kit, he's testing it. He said, I'm not quite sure if I'm ready to ride it yet, but we'll see how he's feeling come the start of the 2022 season. I have a feeling that we might see him having a couple of outings in that GP50 class, but last lap flag for AOB here, and he's about to take the final few corners. The gap now 1.3 seconds back to Archie Gibbs, and Archie O'Brien, well, he's earned this one. The gap was Archie Gibbs has been keeping him honest for the majority of it, but he's just in the final few laps, just been eking out that gap. Of course, a little bit of a wobble last time around. He lost himself, half a second last time around with that slight mistake through the exit of Shoemakers at turn 3. But Archie O'Brien, apart from that, it's a pretty superlative weekend on this LC40 Elite category. Maybe not the way he wanted to go on the AC40 Elite, but he's going AC40 Pro, but on the LC40 Elite category, of course, liquid cooled 40cc engine. It has gone all the way of Archie O'Brien, and with 2 more corners left to go, Archie O'Brien is about to make it a second hat trick in 2 races First it was Oliver Hall, now it's Archie O'Brien, hat-trick winner, 3 from 3 in the LC, and Archie O'Brien, race winner here. There you go, a little bit of a celebration as he crosses the line. He probably thought he deserved that one. Behind, we've got Austin Johnson, who's going to come home behind Archie Gibbs, and Austin Johnson picking up a podium. Luke Fitchett comes home in 4th position, and then we've got Byron Johnson, a bit of a lonely race for Byron and for Finley Polehill in Byron in 5th, Finley in 6th. Sam Gardner and Callum Maxwell are circulating, and 7th and 8th position. They will be finishing if all things go to plan. Is Archie clearly very happy with that one.
Yeah, goes to give Archie Gibbs a handshake, but I think Archie Gibbs was focused on getting back to the pit. So yeah, he's happy with that one. Look, Mom, no hands for Archie O'Brien. He's really enjoying that one on the number 91. 3 wins from 3 for him.
It was indeed. And no wheelie though. All this talk about people popping wheelies on Mini Motos, we're going to have to go and see if it's possible. I'd like to see you try and pop a wheelie.
On a Mini Moto?
Yeah, give it a go.
I don't think I could fit on a Mini Moto.
We'll strap a couple to your feet either side. It's like roller skates. But there we go, Archie O'Brien with your win in that one. Archie Gibbs in 2nd, Austin Johnson. Your podium in the 3rd and final race of the weekend for the LC14 Elites. They will be back in 2 weeks' time in South Wales for their final round of the season. Of course, double points on offer, and surely it will all be decided in the early stages. If I believe, if all things go to plan, same as Oliver Hall, Archie O'Brien should be able to wrap up that championship in the race 1 if he can take that race victory. But welcome everyone to the Mototechniks 6th round of the season here at the FAB-Racing Mini Bike British Championships in Ellough Park over in East Anglia, right over on the east coast. We get a lovely coastal breeze here, and in fact the wind has been picking up throughout the day as we look to the flags over on the far side of the circuit. And you're joining myself, Gareth Hall, and Tristan Finocchiaro for the final few races of the weekend here. And well, next up we go stay on the Mini Motos. However, we increase a few years in age. I'll keep it coy about how many, because it's probably a couple of extra digits. But we go up from the LC14 Elites to the senior Mini Motos.
So ready to have some fun here for the senior Mini Motos. They always provide us with some entertainment. Hopefully they can all keep it on 2 wheels, and we won't see Will Howarth barreling down into the tyre wall again, which we believe was some sort of problem with his brakes. But we'll try and find that one out off of the circuit. But it is Will Howarth with brakes working on pole position on the number 96, ahead of championship leader the number 0 Bernie Hook. Tractor Boy, the number 126 Richard Holmes Williams, is 3rd place on the grid, ahead of the number 4 Josh Birkin in 4th. Row 3 goes to Simon Huntingford and the number 5 of Matt Birkin in 6th. Andy Whelan on the number 7 is 7th, ahead of Chris Yeomans, Mark Payne and Ashley Thompson rounding out your top 10 on the grid. Paul Nichols on the number 24 bike is 11th, ahead of Nick Bennett in 12th. Row 7 goes to Ross Michael and Reece Gentry in 13th and 14th, ahead of Keaton Payne, who rounds out your top 15. The number 75, Elliot Searle, he's 16th place on the grid, ahead of Richard Kinnaird in 17th and Kevin Gritton in 18th. Row 10 goes to Callum White and Neil Skinner in 19th and 20th. And if we can find the other page of the grid, that is your top 20 on the grid for the senior Mini Motos.
Yeah, there are 22. We've got
There's another page.
Grid scattered everywhere, I believe, as we go. There we go. Rob Gentry and Paul Bayliss, 21st and 22nd. We've got several 2-page grids that all get mixed into one, but they roll into their slots now. And well, we, as you say, saw a pretty chaotic senior Mini Motos race earlier on in the day. We had an issue for Will Howarth, a brake issue, and he kind of had a bit of a majestic flop over the barriers. But will we see the same again as we go red lights on? Oh, it's a long pause, it's red lights off, and we go down towards turn 1. Will Howarth, Bernie Hook, but it's Will Howarth getting the whole shot down into turn 1. Richard Holmes Williams has been getting good starts all weekend long, and he goes from 3rd into 2nd. And can he get an attack on? Looks as though Will Howarth might have the inside line and should hold on to the lead. This one, the 22, not going any further. Already off the start, that is an early finish for Paul Bayliss, unless he can get that one restarted. So Paul Bayliss from the back of the grid. Unfortunately, that bike not wanting to play ball stops at the end of the main straight. Up ahead, however, is still Will Howarth, Richard Holmes Williams, and then behind Bernie Hook battling with Josh Birkin.
So Will Howarth then, who has the whole shot, but look at tractor boy Richard Holmes-Williams trying to make a move up the inside, and does, really nicely executed. But is Will Howarth going to get the cut back? No, he hasn't got the inside line as they go through Mini Rossi corner, through the final corner now, onto the front straight for the first time. And look at how menacing Bernie Hook looks. There's a yellow flag through the first sector, so no passing through here supposedly. And Richard Holmes-Williams trying to cover his lines a little bit there, but Will Howarth not looking for a way through this time around. But look at Bernie Hook, he looks really menacing, he looks really racy here for the final race of the weekend in the senior mini motos. Does he want to pick up a win for the final race of the weekend and finish his weekend on a high? He's got good drive out there, has the inside line, but that's a tough place to pass through the dogleg hairpin now. Yeah,
here we go. Bernie Hook getting mighty close. Clearly he's decided he's had 2 races where he's been pretty calm and relaxed so far this weekend. He wants to turn it up for the third final race of the weekend and leave with some good points. Here we go, down the inside. Ooh, what a move there from Bernie. Can Will Howarth get the switch back? He's going to get a better run around the exit, but no, Bernie hugs the inside line. He's going to make Will have to get a bit of a drag. But there you go, lovely move there from the reigning champion Bernie Hook up into second position. He can now chase after race leader Richard Holmes-Williams, who did the fastest lap of the race of 53.688. Behind Matt Birkin has got Simon Huntingford for company as they battle out over 4th and 5th position. Josh Birkin down in 6th position, so perhaps something happened to Josh, because I think he was battling with Bernie in the early stages of this one. He's now down in 6th position and way off the back of the leading trio, and even his brother Matt and Simon Huntingford.
Yeah, well, anything can happen in a senior mini moto race, so clearly something's happened to the number 4 of Josh Birkin. But Matt Birkin is currently in 4th, so just off of that podium battle. But it looks like it's going to be between these 3 at the front. They've broken away from the rest of the field, and Richard Holmes-Williams now breaking away a little bit at the front, so they're going to need to snap straight back at him and make sure he doesn't get away. He set the fastest lap of the race on that last lap, 0.2 of a second quicker than the number 0 of Bernie Hook, who's currently in 2nd place, but they're pushing to make sure that he doesn't get away, using every inch of the circuit and more around this Ellough Park circuit. It is round 6, just one more round to go, and will Bernie Hook be crowned a champion for a 2nd year running in the senior mini motos? Looking a little bit further back at Josh Birkin, who was trying to make a move there. You look at that, just cutting the corner right on the inside. We said we were going to have a little bit of a further look at track limits, but I don't think these guys are listening.
No, I think they're taking the karting line through that corner. That's exactly what we were doing last night. But yeah, it's using that painted curbing. That is what we did have a set of tyres there at the start of the weekend. Unfortunately, they're not there anymore. Unfortunately, that's looks as though we've got a ride off the side. It's like Canard that's off. It looks like it was in 17th position, but unfortunately, an issue there for Richard as he manages to get back up underway. Perhaps not losing too many positions, but. Well, we've still got Richard Holmes-Williams and then Bernie Hook in 2nd position, Will Howarth in 3rd, Matt Birkin in 3rd, Simon Huntingford in 4th, Josh Birkin in 6th, Mark Payne, Chris Yeomans, Ross Michael and Ashley Thompson are your top 10 in the senior mini motos. 5 laps left to go in the 3rd and final race of the weekend here at Ellough Park. And we thank you, if you're watching at home, wherever you're watching from around the world, for joining us here on motorsport.radio or on FAB-Racing over on their YouTube or on their Facebook page, or of course whatever social media platform you're watching on and with. Make sure you do all the good stuff you do on the socials. Drop into the comments, let us know where you're watching from, and equally say hi and who you're supporting this weekend. It's always great to hear from you guys. If you are watching on Facebook, make sure you press like on the video. It really does help out Fab, and of course share so new people can watch the streams and watch the races. It's great to get new faces into Fab. We always see new people joining and asking questions in the comments, so make sure if anyone drops in and asks a question, if you can point them in the right direction. But well, we go on to 4 laps left to go. Fastest lap of the race with Bernie Hook. That gap now down to 0.4 of a second.
Yeah, it's even less than that now on circuit. It was 0.4 a second last time across the line, but he's right on his rear wheel now, and now they're coming towards some back markers on the far end of the circuit as well. Having a little look at some of the riders a little bit further back. There's Mark Payne in 12th position, currently coming through our shot, but this battle at the front now is really hotting up as Bernie Hook has closed that gap down at the front as they come across the line now. They will see what the gap is between those two. 0.6 of a second, so has lost a little bit of time in that last sector has Bernie Hook, so it's all between those two out the front. But there's lots of lap traffic coming up for the leaders as Mark Payne comes through the final corner and comes to start his lap. It's 3 laps to go for these guys. Here's Simon Huntingford, of course, has a lot to do with Mototechniks. You can see Mototechniks on the side of that bike, and in the corner of your screen it is the Mototechniks round 6 here at Ellough Park, and the home round for the Huntingfords, both Simon and Charlie. You can see Charlie later on in the Premier class of the junior classes, the MKGP 70s, and battles all the way through this field, as well as Richard Holmes-Williams makes his way through on some lap traffic, and he is now your race leader with 2 laps to go. It's Richard Holmes-Williams and Bernie Hook. Which way is it going to go?
0.6 of a second split them across the line. Bernie Hook taking a little bit of time, and when I say a little bit of time, 16 thousandths of a second is a little bit of time across the line. A little bit of a wobble there for Richard Holmes-Williams, but he shouldn't have cost himself too much time. But Bernie's going to it's hard if he's just in that cusp of setting almost identical lap times. He needs to find 0.6 of a second to really, you need to be within 0.2 to make a move, and that's where Bernie needs to be finding himself in the next half a lap or so that he can shape him up onto the final lap. But looks as though Richard might just have this, because he's got a little bit of lap traffic up ahead of him. If he can get that in between himself and Bernie, that should ensure him, if all things go to plan, the race victory. That is the 100 of Reece Gentry that they're coming up to. In fact, goes down the inside, and Reece now is between himself and Bernie. So by the looks of it, yeah, Bernie, it looks as though he's backed off 1.1 seconds behind now. So surely Bernie's just slotted in and decided a second position is where he's going to be finishing, and that's still a solid handful of points going towards his championship bid. Of course, he's looking at making it another win in the senior mini motos. His championship rival, his top rival is Josh Birkin, and then Matt Birkin is around about 20 points behind, so he's going to be taking a heap of points over both Birkins in this one. So Bernie Hook slowly just edging his way to the championship once again in the seniors. But Richard Holmes-Williams here at Ellough has been in sensational form on this mini moto. Just a few more corners left to go for him, and in towards the penultimate corner, out to the final corner. A little bit of lap traffic up ahead, it's not going to worry him at all. Here we go, pops a wheelie down the main straight. Nicely done indeed, and he is a winner in the senior mini motos for race 3 of round 6 of the FAB-Racing Mini Bike British Championship. Bernie Hook in second and Will Howarth in third, ahead of the Birkins and Matt and Josh, who come across the line split by around about 1.7 of a second. Simon Huntingford in his home race, of course, Mototechniks, based just down the road here from Ellough, is in 6th position. Then we've got Mark Payne, Chris Yeomans, Ashley Thompson and Ross Michael due to cross the line shortly. Mark Payne in 7th, Chris Yeomans does come home in 8th. Ashley Thompson on the 108 he's had a pretty eventful or less eventful race here. I'm not sure you didn't see Rara. Ashley Thompson unfortunately just seemed to be all over the place at Rara, I think it was. So I'm sure he'll be much happier with staying on his bike rather than on his backside this time around on that 108.
It's preferable, it helps.
It does help as well. You say that, but the Birkins tend to be doing all the time. They always seem to be right.
They still finish on the podium.
Exactly. So Ashley Thompson in 9th. Ross Michael does come home into the top 10. So that is senior mini motos done. They will be back out in Handau in 2 weeks' time. So thank you very much for joining us for Senior Mini Motos. We now move up from Mini Motos. We've got rid of the rookies, we've got rid of the pros, we've got rid of the elites, we've got rid of the seniors. We're now moving up to the big bikes.
Yeah, now for geared bike machinery, geared bike boxes, PB140s coming up next, and similar to the senior mini motos, we always get great action. That race 2 we had earlier on, if we have anything like we had then, we are really in for a treat, because there was passing, there was action, there was track limits going out the window, there was backing up the group to try and create a battle, and there was the 2 championship rivals going hammer and tonks at it at the end. Although it's a comfortable championship lead for Taylor Lawrence, Rossi Banham isn't giving up.
No, he's not. He's gone 2 from 2 in this one. And as you say, yeah, the race 2, if you get a chance today, go back and watch race 2 from the Pit Bike 140s. It was sensational. It was Taylor Lawrence, it was Rossi Bannon, it was Jamie King, and plenty more. Jamie King was not happy. He ended up getting caught out by some lap traffic with just a few laps left to go. Had to take the wide line onto the painted area of the exit, the final corner. Ended up losing 3rd position and falling all the way back down to 5th. Taylor Lawrence and Rossi Banham. We spoke to him in the lunch break, and they said, "Did you see it? Did you see it?" Yeah, we did. You almost took each other out. He went, "Yeah, we did. It was a bit scary." I think Taylor, his eyes were opened a little bit wider as the pair almost hooked legs as they went through a very fast section of the corner. And well, how many changes for the lead did we see? I think they changed position almost every single corner.
It got to the point where we stopped calling the changes of position because it wasn't news to the screen anymore. It was just happening every corner. So yeah, it was incredible racing between those guys. Hopefully we see it again. Chris Wells had a really unlucky race. Had some issues right at the beginning, which put him completely out of contention. So it'd be nice to see him in contention. Jay King just missed out on a podium early, so he's going to be eager to try and get that podium position. He's still going to start from 7th place on the grid, so it's going to be a tall order for Jay King, but he was up into podium positions in the earlier race, and it was so much fun that I do hope we get a similar race to earlier on today. It's the final race for these guys, so they're going to be wanting to go out and have some fun. And it was Rossi Banham earlier on in the day that came and saw us in the morning and told us he thought it was going to be a boring day for him. Definitely wasn't boring in race 2. Hopefully won't be boring in race 3. Definitely won't be if it's anything to go by for what we've had so far in the season for the pit bike 140s. As Rossi Banham just make sure everything's okay there with his pit bike 140. We see him with his hands and legs off the handlebars more often than we see him with all of them on.
At least he's not dancing this time. I say that, they'll probably start now. But Taylor and Rossi having a quick glance behind there as they get ready to go on their green flag lap. And we'll be get going with this 27 bike grid. And on pole position with a 50.461, 4 tenths of a second faster, it was Rossi Banham than Taylor Lawrence. Rossi looking to take a hat-trick of wins. So it's Rossi Banham, Taylor Lawrence, Richard Holmes-Williams, Reece Peacock are your front 2 rows. Harrison Crosby on row 3 in 5th position with Chris Wells in 6th place. Jamie King in 7th and Nathan Riggy in 8th. Ben Jolliffe in 9th. Darren Anderson in 10th. Marco Pandolfo in 11th. Dan Merrin in 12th. Adam Redding 13th. Sam Smith in 14th. Jack Andrews and Matt Lindley in 15th and 16th. Sean Whittaker in 17th. Giorgio Scalata in 18th with an unknown quantity in 19th and Paul Coombs in 20th. Eden Katz in 21st. Max Berry 22nd. Andrew Graham, Louis Dutton in 23rd and 24th. Keaton Payne, Aston Dean and Madison Martlew in the greatest boy band that the world has ever seen, the Pit Bike 140s.
And it's going to be then Rossi Banham lining up on pole position. It's going to be a whole heap of bikes that are going to be joining this grid. They're all still coming around and filing into the back spaces on this grid for the final race of the weekend for the Pit Bike 140s. There was plenty of action in race 2, the first race of the day today for these guys. Expect even more action here in race 3 as their attention turns to the lights for the final time this weekend. The lights are off and they are out. There's a few creepers off the line, there's a few wheels being lifted, but it's a few good starts as well as Taylor Lawrence goes up into the lead. Rossi Banham was just running a little bit wide, was letting them through. He wants a battle in this race, but he has a little look at the inside at Shoemakers. Not going to make it stick this time round. It looked as if Marco Pandolfo was running a little bit wide, but now Rossi Banham back up the inside of Taylor Lawrence, pushes Taylor Lawrence wide, and now Richard Holmes-Williams has got the drive on him. Can't make the move stick though, and it's Chris Wells up into 4th.
Yeah, good stuff from Chris Wells from 6th into 4th. And Chris, who had an issue with the bike off the line, had to scoot out of the way before he got collected from behind. Managed to come back and finish in 9th, so he had to find his way through almost 20 different bikes. What can he do with a better start this time around? But it is Rossi Banham from Taylor Lawrence, Richard Holmes-Williams, then Chris Wells in 4th. Jamie King's got a little bit of work to do. He's dropped down to 7th position, so Jamie crossing into a position where he's not particularly happy. Of course, this is being his home circuit. He always wants to do well here, but he's got some bikes to get past. He was involved in that fight for the lead earlier on as Taylor goes down the inside of Rossi and up into the lead of this one, but they are being followed very closely behind by Richard Holmes-Williams, who's seemingly in love with this Ellough Park circuit. He's been very, very strong whatever machinery he's been sitting on,
and fresh off the back of his senior Mini Moto race that he's just won, just come in, swapped bikes, quick bike change, and back out here in the Pit Bike 140s and looking to pick up victory here as well. But it's Taylor Lawrence that currently has that lead, and a brilliant move being done there from Rossi Banham. Can't make that stick though, because the number 10 of Taylor Lawrence just covers his line through the Mini Rossi corner. He's got the drive down the straight though, one hand off the handlebar, cruises past him with one hand, makes it look easy. I've got the entire line, so kicks up the dust on the exit of turn 1. Nice line through Shoemakers, covers his line nicely through there. No way through for Taylor Lawrence, and this is allowing Chris Wells to make sure he's getting back onto the back of these guys. Harrison Crosby's now up to 5th place as well, so he's made up a few moves. Jay King wants to be in this battle, but he's got a little bit of ground to be able to make up if he's going to be sticking with these guys. So it's Rossi Banham, Taylor Lawrence and Richard Holmes-Williams at the moment that are sharing the spoils at the front of this race. Dangling a leg, there's the doctor's dangle for Rossi Banham, of course, named after, I'll let you guess.
I'll get it wrong, of course, the doctor himself. But here we go. There we go. Rossi has a quick glance over his shoulder. There was no one there because Taylor Lawrence is the other side. Rossi had to look the wrong way because Taylor now down the inside, and he gets the move done. But, Rossi getting the position. Taylor trying to come back at him. And there we go, the trading positions once again, corner for corner for corner. Richard Holmes-Williams now down the inside of Taylor Lawrence. So Holmes-Williams up into P2. He can now chase down Rossi Banham. And this shows you how quick they're... I say how quick, possibly a little bit of a crab bucket at the front of this one, because down to 9th position is 2.5 seconds. So that's not usually seen too much. The pit bikes tend to split up into their own separate groups, but because of this battle at the front, they're all starting to fight. We've got a breakaway group all the way down to 9th position, all within 3 seconds of the lead. Yeah, it's all bunching up. The fastest lap of the race went to Reece Peacock out of the race again. Was out of race 2, now out of race 3. There's a bit of grass. Oh, and what's Rossi Banham doing there? He's gone really wide. He just wants a challenge, I think. And Jay King's gone down in the background. So your reigning Pit Bike 140 champion down and out of the race. He's trying to get that bike restarted. And he will go back into the race. It's a little bit battered and bruised, is that bike, but it's back and into this Pit Bike 140 race. If he's not going to, it doesn't look like he's going to be in a good position to pick up the championship this year, but he was your champion last year. Now Rossi Banham, watch him, he's going to be trying to make moves again. He's proving that he can win races from any point in the race, but he's just sitting up a little bit here, perhaps just taking the mick a little bit too much. Yeah, and he's now trying to close in on Harrison Crosby. Harrison Crosby, who's not on his own bike this time, he's decided to borrow someone else's bike. Clearly Harrison, who's maybe not had the best of weekends on that machine, he's gone down a couple of times and had a bit of a big fall in the previous race. He's now on the 48 bike, and we'll see what he can do on that. But a real shame for Jamie King. He had a big tumble back at Rowra, which was caught on camera as we cut to his GoPro feed. But here goes Richard Holmes-Williams down the inside of Taylor Lawrence. So there's a change for the lead with 6 laps left to go. So not ideal for Jamie King, who's dropped all the way down to 13th position behind Sean Whittaker in 13th and 12th. So Taylor Lawrence once again back down the inside. So Richard Holmes-Williams in the lead. Was only a brief pause, but quick glance behind for Richard. But you can see Rossi now back up into P3. So after losing a few positions, Rossi back up onto the podium. We're about to go on 5 laps left to go. It's Taylor Lawrence from Richard Holmes-Williams, Rossi Banham, and then Harrison Crosby. Looks as though he's holding on to, or has he just dropped behind Chris Wells? Chris Wells now up into 4th position. Banham back up into a podium contention now, and he's up into 2nd place now with a nice move down at Shoemakers on the number 196. He's having a little look at the number 10 of Taylor Lawrence. Is he going to make it 2 for 2 in 2 corners? He does, from 3rd to 1st in the space of 2 corners. He dropped down to 5th, back up to 1st now, and there's still 5 laps to go in this Pit Bike 140 race. Fastest lap of the race last time around was Rossi Banham with a 50.5, and that's a very fast lap indeed for Rossi Banham. He was under the lap record in race 2 earlier on, but slots himself underneath Richard Holmes-Williams now as Taylor Lawrence it is that has the lead of this Pit Bike 140 race. Plenty of names in here, the likes of Rossi Banham riding out in the British Talent Cup, or Harrison Crosby riding out in the British Talent Cup. In 9th place is Adam Redding. It's not Scott Redding, he's over at Jerez. You'd hope so, I think. But there you go, Taylor Lawrence still leading from Rossi Banham. Richard Holmes-Williams, here comes a move for the lead. Rossi Banham's going down the inside. Taylor's going to have to go the long way round, use that runoff, but Rossi had his quick glance behind, and Well, they're still trading positions like we saw in race 2, but maybe not as frenetically. I think they've calmed down a little bit, perhaps spooked themselves in with that big moment where Rossi almost had a huge moment and would have wiped out about 3 or 4 bikes behind him. Taylor Lawrence in second, and Richard Holmes-Williams as the top 3 start to break away a little bit from Chris Wells, who's having his own separate fight with Harrison Crosby and Ben Jolliffe, as they all duel out over position down inside or just outside the top 10. But Rossi Banham lost around, fastest lap of the race at 50.4.
Is that Darren Anderson that's gone down?
Yes, 56. So
56. Yeah, Darren Anderson that's gone down on the infield section, but back up and into this race. But now this battle between this front 3, 2.5 laps. Which way is it going to go? Can Rossi Banham make it 3 from 3? He's edging that championship lead down, but it's not enough. He needs Taylor Lawrence to finish further down the order, because Taylor has got a firm grip on this championship going into the double points round, the final round, round 7 at Clandau. Next up on the FAB-Racing calendar, Rossi Banham then ahead of Taylor Lawrence. Is it going to be, which one of these is it going to be? Will Richard Holmes-Williams be able to take the win? He's won the senior Mini Moto race just before this one. Can he do 2 back-to-back wins in 2 separate classes? We will be finding out in 2 laps time. So it is now these guys that are catching some lap traffic. So is this going to play a part in this race? Too much action going on here, Gareth.
Yeah, take a breather, take a drink, because it's going to go. It's going to get even more heated, because down the inside of the lap traffic goes Rossi Banham, goes Taylor Lawrence, goes Richard Holmes-Williams, and there they are slowly catching. And with about to go on to the last lap, will they have enough time to get that lap circulating before they catch what is around about 3 or 4 bikes in front of them? Because that could really hamper the charge if Rossi Banham can put a bike in between himself and Taylor Lawrence. Because into the final corner with the last lap flag, so yellow flag at the first corner. That's the 48 that's gone down. I'm just making sure that's not Harrison Crosby, because I'm pretty sure Harrison Crosby was on the 48. But
no, they're running those hired IMR
they
bikes,
are.
and they're
there we go.
The same number.
So there we go. So, but down the inside of the lap traffic goes Rossi Banham. So Rossi Banham up into instead holding the lead, but putting a bike in between himself and Taylor Lawrence. So Taylor down the inside, and well, just a few more corners left to go. Rossi Banham looking to make it a hat-trick of wins here in the Pit Bike 140s. It has been a sensational weekend's action on the pit bikes, and we've really enjoyed it. And Rossi Banham, he's back in style. If all things go to plan, Taylor's trying to close in. He's going to have to go for a drag to line if he's going to get it done. But with 1 corner left to go, Rossi Banham to the flag, 3 from 3, and his return to the pit bikes for Rossi Banham. Taylor Lawrence in second position, and Richard Holmes-Williams in third. And what a result there from Rossi. Great to have him back. 3 wins, and it's a shame that I'm sure he won't mind too much, but it's a shame that he's missed the last few rounds, because we would have a brilliant title battle between Taylor Lawrence and Rossi Banham.
Yeah, he is. He's provided plenty of entertainment for us this weekend, with him slowing down and having battles with these guys. Won a race by some distance yesterday. 3 wins from 3 for Rossi Banham, and he's doing another lap, so he's still going out, because the checkered flag hasn't come out, so he hasn't actually taken the win officially, even though we have completed race distance. The checkered flag is now going to go out, and it is going to be Rossi Banham that is going to take the victory ahead of Taylor Lawrence and Richard Holmes-Williams. So we can now say Rossi Banham has taken 3 from 3. They had completed race distance, but just a little bit of a hiccup with the flag.
Yeah, just a bit, an extra lap or so, just a bit more tea time. Just having a quick chat there. I swear we did 12 laps. Did we do 12? No, we did 13 laps. But there you go, having a chat with Harrison Crosby, and Rossi having a quick point to the back tyre there. Probably saying you're getting too close to that. I wanted to stay ahead of you. But Rossi Banham, Taylor Lawrence, and Richard Holmes-Williams in that one are your top 3. Harrison Crosby in third. Ben Jolliffe, another good result for Ben in 5th position. Chris Wells drops down to 6th with Nathan Riggy, Jack Andrews, Jamie King, and then we had in 10th position we had Merrin. We had a brilliant result for Dan Merrin, so the 888 for himself in what is a decent top 10 finish once again. So I'm pretty sure Dan's second top 10 of the weekend. So pit bikes are done and dusted. They will be packing up and heading off to head back home, get those bikes tuned up and ready to go for the next round. So we've we've had a sensational day. I've really enjoyed this one so far, Tristan.
Yeah, it's been incredible. We've had plenty of action in all classes, the likes of the MKGP 70s. Unfortunately, we were robbed of a bit of a battle there right at the end with the red flag. Incredible racing in the GP50s as well, which are coming up next. Marco Holt really trying absolutely everything he can to get the better of the likes of Clayton Edmonds. Also battles in the AC40 Pros and the LC40 Elites. Austin Johnson picking up 2 victories, and Archie O'Brien, who we're going to have in the commentary box very, very shortly as well, has picked up 3 from 3 in the LC40 Elites, and just managed to fend off his competitors in that one, and was looking really, really strong indeed. And we're going to have him join us in the commentary box very, very shortly, as he's just waiting for us to get started for the MKGP 50s, and it's going to be an exciting one, Gareth. I can't wait for it.
Yeah, really looking forward to this one, and hopefully we've got Archie's mic up working. Do you want to say hi, Archie, just so we make sure we can hear you?
Hello.
There we go. Good to hear from you. And how's your day going so far? You've seen you out in the pros and the elites.
Not too bad. Managed to pick up a win in the AC40 Pros yesterday, but unfortunately Austin was too quick for me today. But good day in the LCs. Managed to get a hat trick.
Yeah, we saw especially in the ACs, that starts seemed to be an issue for you. So you were losing a couple of positions off start. Was it anything to do with the bike, or purely just Austin nailing those starts?
Well, it's sort of, I run very long gearing instead of running the shorter gearing like they do, so I'm always going to be a bit sluggish off the line.
Well, what's the reason for that? Is that because of your higher corner speed? You like to run a longer gearing?
Yeah, I just like to carry the corner speed a lot more, and I'm sort of used to nailing the throttle on quite early on the 14 mils, so it's natural for me to run long gearing.
So what's the sort of difference in teeth? It's just a couple of teeth that you run longer?
Well, yeah, sort of 3 or 4 teeth longer, so it does make.
That's quite a difference.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting. We've got a little bit of an insight now, so we can use that for the next round at Clando. We won't give too much away for your competitors either. So now on circuit though, it is the MKGP 50s. 2 wins from 2 so far for Clayton Edmonds. Marco Holt was trying really, really hard. Couldn't quite get the drive, he was saying, out of the dogleg hairpin. Needed to use a little bit more of the inside curb to be able to get the better of Clayton, as Clayton was using every single inch of it. And Marco's going to be looking to do the same in this race.
Absolutely so, and you've seen the likes of Marco Holt of Clayton Edmonds really having a pretty stellar battle throughout this weekend. Archie Gibbs has not been left for dust though, and Archie Gibbs has been doing, since he's moved up to this metric kit, he's got himself right up involved in that top 3, and clearly showing that making that move up to the metric kits it can be done, and you can get yourself right up involved in the thick end of it.
Yes, he's obviously adapted to the metric kits really well. He's done quite a bit of practice on it, so maybe he's just adapted to the metric kits quite well.
And do you find yourself, obviously you've got an eye on the metric kits for 2022, have you started getting some track time in on it and getting your eye in about what you want and where you think you're going to be stronger and weaker going through the winter period?
Yeah, I've sort of, like I said yesterday, I've had a couple of training sessions with Marco and Clayton Edmonds a bit, so I'm sort of roughly working out where I'm going to be finishing in the races.
So, as they head around for their green flag lap, of course, one green flag lap before they head to the grid, and it's Clayton Edmonds from Marco Holt, Archie Gibbs, Harry Payne, Wilson Dilks, Bill Harris, Luke Fitchett, Izzy Carter and Charlie Eagley. Of course, Izzy Carter and Charlie Eagley on the Junior 140/160 bikes, and everyone else on the Mini GP 50s as my 2 co-commentators dance the night away alongside me to the quali music, and we get ready for Marco versus Clayton, round 3 of the weekend. What do we see? Harry Payne on the 11, bobbing away on the bike. He'll be starting on row 2, looking at picking up another podium. Harry's had a pretty strong season in the 50s. He'll be looking at getting another decent result, but he needs to overhaul Archie Gibbs as we get a bike being rolled into position. That's Luke Fitchett, I believe, on the 7 machine, that's trying to get that bike bump started. So hopefully as he wheels it back into position on his grid slot, as Luke, who's had a couple of issues on the bike, it's good to see if he can get that one restarted. He gets a bit of a bump.
That's a jump start and a half.
Yeah, he can't start from there, but just there we go. Off the there you go. Luke Fitchett leads the way on the time as he crosses the line. But it looks as though he's going to have to get that one restarted from the back of the grid as they're trying to bump it. Is this frustrating? Because I'm sure you've had this issue where you've got to the grid and suddenly the bike just cuts out and doesn't want to work. Yeah,
you always just think, come on, why won't you start? And you're getting a bit frustrated at the mechanics, as you think, why didn't they prepare the bike properly? As it's lights out and away we go. And Clayton Edmonds with a good start down into turn 1. Everyone seems to be in position. Harry Payne trying to gain a couple places. Izzy Carter seems to be getting a couple places here and there as Wilson Dilks tries to go up the inside, but it is Clayton Edmonds who leads the way from Marco Holt.
Yeah, brilliant start from Clayton Edmonds, but Marco Holt looking really eager in this one, and he's picked up 2 second places behind Clayton Edmonds. How hungry is he going to be for that victory? He's
going to be really hungry, as he's been chasing it all weekend, but not quite being able to get the edge over Clayton Edmonds.
So just talk us through this section. What's it like to ride?
Well, you're sort of trying to get on the gas early through the slingshot hairpin down into the Mini Rossi corner. It's quite a weird corner because you want to square it off, but you also don't want to give away places. As around the first turn we go, Clayton Edmonds leads the way through the very fast turn 1, using all the curb on the exit down into the double right-hander. It's quite a weird corner again, as you want to square it off but not lose places. Marco Holt having a look around the outside, maybe going to get the switch back. Can't quite do it.
Yeah, really close though. He had a good drive out of there, like I say, was trying to get that switch back on the number 146 of Clayton Edmonds. Desperate to trying to find a way past, and he's going up the inside here of the dogleg hairpin. Is he going to use all the track on the inside there, which is something he wasn't doing earlier on in race 2. Now he has the lead, a little bit of breathing. That's unsettled Clayton a little bit now as well.
Yeah, maybe he's just been a little bit unsettled, had to sit up a bit there and lost a bit of time, but he seems to be gathering his rhythm back now as Archie Gibbs sets the fastest lap of the race in the last lap.
Yeah, and he's looking good. He's looking like he's in contention as the number 3 of Archie Gibbs. Watch out for Harry Payne as well, just a little bit behind these guys. Good 4th place for him. Of course, he's picked up podiums in the past in the MKGP 50s. Has had a few technical gremlins earlier on in the weekend, and now in a solid 4th place.
Yeah, he's obviously trying to hunt down that podium as Clayton uses the whole usage of tarmac on the exit there.
And we see that very often with these guys using absolutely all the runoff, and we see it a lot in the Pit Bike 140 race. We see it with these guys, and yeah, track limits not an issue for these guys in the MKGP 50s, using all of the circuit and more. Like you say, Archie Gibbs had the fastest lap of the race last time around, and he looks really menacing on that number 3. He looks like he's in the mood for a win. You've denied him of a couple of wins this weekend, or 3 wins in fact this weekend. So now his last chances in the GP50s.
Yeah, but this time it's Marco Holt who sets the fastest lap as Clayton goes up the inside on the brakes. It's close, but
close, and he's that's just unsettled him a little bit. He went for the inside line, and Marco was real defensive, and that just made Clayton Edmonds just lose a little bit of time there. He didn't get on the power exactly when he wanted to, and he lost a tiny bit of time, but he's managed to reel that gap back in. He is, of course, your championship leader. He's the number 146 of Clayton Edmonds, but it's Marco Holt who's thirsty for that victory. He's come on so strong towards the end of this season. This is his rookie season in the MKGP 50s. Of course, Clayton did last season as well. Next year's going to be looking like it's going to be your rookie season, the MKGP 50s. You'll be wanting to have a season like Marco's.
Yeah, he's had a really good season so far. He seemed to be able to pick up on the metric hits a couple of wins so far, and seems to be comfortable with the 4/10 gap, but Harry Payne setting the fastest lap last time around.
So Harry Payne now slightly catching this front trio with that fastest lap of the race last time around, and he's just inches away from that 1, 2, 3. Marco Holt, Clayton Edmonds, Archie Gibbs, Harry Payne wants to get in there as well. The 2 on screen are the 2 Johnsons. That's Byron and Austin Johnson battling it out for 8th place. Their first weekend, not their first weekend, but they're testing out the waters of the MKGP 50s, and they were riding last time out as well, I believe, Gareth.
Yeah, doing a really good job in their sort of semi-debut in this category, and moving up to the Metricals. It's good to see them testing themselves out, and Yeah, fighting their way through. As of course, we've got this battle for the lead still going on as they get through a bit of lap traffic there. I think that's Charlie Eagling. They're making their way past as Marco Holt, Clayton Edmonds and Archie Gibbs still involved in this battle, as Harry Payne only around about 1.8 seconds behind, so still not out of the picture with 7 laps left to go. And Archie, we've heard from a couple of the 70 riders this weekend saying they're struggling to find positions to make overtakes, and Filip Zdrowiak saying it was hard to find a way past Ethan Spots. How are you finding the track for overtakes, especially on the Mini Moto compared to these Metro kits?
I would say it's a lot easier on a Mini Moto because you can just place the bike wherever you want more than having to line it up a few corners back, but it's still your main overtaking opportunities are turn 1, the turn they're coming into now, and probably the dogleg hairpin and the slingshot hairpin are your main overtaking opportunities.
And do you find yourself, when you're in that position, just having to just have the trust in the person that you're overtaking, that they can see you coming, or you're purely just going to go for it and make sure that they know that you're there? Yeah,
this track's a bit weird. As Clayton goes up the inside at the dogleg hairpin, that's close, but yeah, it's sort of weird because you've got to commit, but then you've always got to have trust in each other not to hit each other and take each other out.
Yeah, as we just saw there from Marco Holt and Clayton Edmonds, as Clayton is losing quite a handful of time there, because he's now got Archie Gibbs swarming over the back end of him, and in fact Harry Payne is now close right up to the pair of them. So Marco Holt breaking away by over a second now, Clayton Edmonds in second, and then we've got Archie Gibbs and Harry Payne looking at adding another podium to his name in the GP50s. So he's picked up a handful so far this season. Marco Holt, I'm sure, will be happy with a little bit of a breather with that 1 second advantage up at the head of this one. But Clayton, you can see, back on the pace and back underway, and I think that's one of Clayton's the best traits, isn't it, Archie? He's so consistent on this bike.
Yeah, I've ridden with him at Red Lodge on my LC, and he was on his Metch kit one time, or his Metch kit broke down, so he borrowed mine, and I managed to overtake him, but then I could never gap him as his pace was just so consistent.
And he's started doing it in all conditions now. We saw him win the race in the wet back over in Red Lodge last year, and he was a bit of a wet weather specialist, but he's now transferring over to the dry and really turning the screw in this 50 category. He stayed in the 50s for another season. He's also running in the 70s as well, and running pretty nicely in that one, but up at the head of this one, he's got to beat Marco Holt, because Marco's been putting some really solid races in the last few rounds, but another rider's been putting an even better run in this one is Harry Payne, who has managed to close in. What was a 2.1 second advantage is now 4/10, and last time around Harry Payne, fastest rider on circuit at 50.3, was 0.3 of a second faster than anyone else and 0.6 faster than race leader Marco Holt.
Yeah, maybe Marco's just sort of trying to control it, and Harry Payne's smelling blood in the water.
Do you ever get into a position where you're in a train like that you almost want to back your competitors up into the people behind them just to slow the pace down a little bit?
I did it a little bit with me and Archie Gibbs. We were sort of battling, and I tried to back him up to the pack a little bit, but it only worked with Luke Fitchett. No one else was able to do it. But when you do get in a train like this, it's hard to overtake because one person's following another, and you're scared if you go up the inside of them, you might hit the other person. It's hard to overtake in a train like that.
Absolutely. And Tristan, when you're in a position that Marco is, he knows that he needs to beat Clayton, so surely he's just going to be riding pretty defensively at the moment, just making sure, like we saw earlier on from some of the other riders, especially over in the AC40 Pros with Austin Johnson, who seemed to be hugging every single apex, just making sure that Archie couldn't get past. He just needs to hit every single mark. It must be a little bit mentally draining to do that, where you can't actually go out there and just ride fluidly. You have to be focusing, making sure that you're hitting every single corner perfectly.
Yeah, he can feel Clayton and the rest really breathing down his neck, and that was a really good drive from Clayton Edmonds. Perhaps Marco just fluffed it or missed a gear or something, because Clayton just managed to completely drive underneath him. Maybe he's letting him through because, like you say, mentally draining. Wants to have a little look at Clayton, see where he can make moves stick towards the end of this race. But I mean, if you're leading the race, it's quite easy to stay out of trouble. It's when you're in a group, say in Harry Payne's position, and something happens ahead, it's quite easy to get tangled in an incident that you don't want to be tangled in. So definitely something that can happen. But with coming on to the final lap, who's going to take this win, Archie?
Well, Archie Gibbs is still in a really good position, but I think if he was in second, he had a good chance. But we're now coming up to some lap traffic. Yeah. It's going to be a bit hard to negotiate. Oh, they go either side of him. But obviously, you would say Clayton's going to win it, but you never know on the last lap. But they're now coming up to Luke Fitchett. Are they going to negotiate it easily? Clayton goes up the inside. Oh, Marco gets held up a bit there. But yeah, Clayton seems to be clean through, so I think he's good for the win now.
Yeah, it looks as if Clayton Edmonds is solid for this race victory, but it is Marco Holt who's trying everything. He's got that slingshot out of the dogleg chicane, but he's not close enough, and it's going to be... Oh, that's a big moment for Clayton Edmonds. They both run wide. Which way is it going to go? He still manages to hold the lead, though. That could have been curtains for Clayton Edmonds, but it's not going to be. It's going to be 3 wins from 3 for the number 146, with Marco Holt in second, Archie Gibbs picking up another podium, and Harry Payne, a brilliant race, but just misses out on a podium. And that last lap moment there from Clayton Edmonds, what do you think was going through his head, Archie?
He probably thought, oh no, I've fluffed it, but obviously he didn't, as he won the race over Marco Holt, Archie Gibbs, Harry Payne, just less than a second behind, as we wait for Wilson Dilks. And it just proves how much pace the top 4 had, as it was a huge 27.7 second gap back to Wilson Dilks.
And Archie O'Brien taking our job, so he's fantastic. And looking at the timing screens and going through everything is exactly what you like to see. Like we'll see from so many others, clearly got a job in commentary if he ever wants one, is Archie O'Brien. So thank you very much for joining, Archie. You've been an absolute star. And you watch, obviously I'm sure you watch racing from 2 wheels and 4 wheels all over the place. Have you got anyone that you listen to, any particular favourite commentators or?
I don't really know the names of the commentators. I obviously know your two's name, but I don't really know many. But I'm just going to say
you need to know.
Neil Mackenzie.
Oh, well, he did say us. Oh, I can't believe it. Can't believe it. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
I'll tell Neil that for you next time.
Yeah, you can see him. But yeah, I mean, you've been an absolute star. Fantastic. Congratulations for your wins this weekend, and taking an absolute haul of points into the championship round back in Landau in just 2 weeks' time. And you're all done now. You can pack up and head off, surely. Or are you going to sit and watch the end of the races?
Yeah, and I've also got to get my trophies, ain't I?
That's true. Can't forget that. Yeah. So.
Oh, and before I leave, I have got a quick fact. In the pros, I was 6 points off winning the championship this weekend.
Yeah, I was trying to work that out when I saw Finley Polehill go down. I had my calculator and everything. I was trying to work out if you could win the championship, but you couldn't. All you need to do, though, is finish the races in Landau, and that championship should be yours.
Yeah, hopefully that's the plan, but we'll see what comes.
Oh, thanks a lot for joining us. Best of luck with it, and we will be glued to the screen for it.
Thank you.
Awesome. That is Archie O'Brien, rider in the AC40 Pros and the LC40 Elites, and leading those championships away. And what a absolute little star. Fantastic commentary from him. Really, really enjoyed that. And we've had in the last few rounds a lot of the riders coming up and joining us in the commentary box, and I'm incredibly impressive. I've been so impressed with that. He was even looking at timing screens when we were looking at the screens, and just poking and podding us. Look, he's taken 4/10 off him. He's taken 4/10 off him.
He was more attentive to the screens than we were. He was doing a much better job. So I think we've definitely lost our jobs for next season. So you've heard it here first. Archie O'Brien will be the commentators next year. It's in the FAB-Racing Mini Moto British Championships. He's definitely got a career in it if he wants to get up and join Neil Mackenzie over at Eurosport. Yeah,
absolutely. So my fiancée adores him. She always looks at his photos with his 2 thumbs up. She's like, Archie O'Brien, he's just the best. He's just the best, and he's such a nice lad. Great to have in the paddock, and he'll be out there, and I'm sure he'll be going down ready to watch this Extreme 200 Moto team race that are just heading out for their 3rd and final race of the weekend. We've got on pole position Casey O'Gorman, James Dutton in 2nd position with Sullivan Mounsey in 3rd, Ollie Horner 4th, Georgina Polden in 5th with Greg Marshall and Owen Mellor in 6th and 7th, Felix Dorling in 8th with Jordan Hopes in 9th, Will Howarth 10th with Bernie Hook, Craig Bolden 11th and 12th, 13th goes to Jamie King with 14th, Dylan Mellor, Jack Andrews in 15th with No Name Transponder in 16th, Adam Redding 17th with Peter Parapanos in 18th, Sean Whitaker in 19th and Jason Pugh in 20th position. And then I'm just quickly flashing over because I know that we've got some more, and it's once again added on to the extra part of my my second sheet. There we go. Eden Katz in 21st with Phil Mappenbeck 22nd, Scott Jewett Vince Bailey, Phil Joyce, Ian Baker and Charlie Ems, your 27 bikes in the Extreme 200 Moto Team category, with 2 bikes, 3 categories, a whole lot of points and a lot of confusion for us as we're trying to work out where everyone else is Oz, there we go, somewhere in the word in there somewhere, is on the circuit.
We're not in Oz.
No, we could, well, yeah, I wish, but it'd be a lot warmer. But here we go. Extreme 200, Casey has been on fire this weekend.
He's been incredible. He's incredible over in the British Talent Cup, and he's going to be looking to take 3 wins from 3. We've seen a couple of riders do it so far. Will Casey O'Gorman be able to do it? We're going to find out very shortly as they are away for the final race of the weekend. Sullivan Mounty again takes the whole shot. Casey O'Gorman again gets the cutback. Has a look down into Shoemakers. Can't make that stick. So now Sullivan Mounty needs to upset Casey's rhythm and make sure that he doesn't get back past us. Casey O'Gorman had a little look at the inside, but this is Dylan Mellor that's on the number 31 that's gone out of the race. So unfortunate start for him. I think he's managed just about to get restarted. But now at the front it is Mounsey and O'Gorman. James Dutton just about there in third, and in fourth it's Ollie Horner, who we're used to seeing in the MKGP 70s. He'll be out a little bit later on, and his dad was telling me he's out in this race to try and improve his corner speed and get back up to where he wants to be, and just start taking a little bit more risks on that all yellow number 70 GP70. Yellow flags down in the first sector. That'll be for Dylan Mellor, I believe. But out the front though, it is between the 2 British Talent Cup riders.
Yeah, and they were trading positions on the opening lap. Sullivan Mounty still holding off Casey O'Gorman, and this is almost a carbon copy of what we saw in race 2 with Sullivan Mounty getting the jump on Casey O'Gorman in the early stages, but Casey managed to find a way past in around about lap 2 or lap 3, and then he started to pull away. So Sullivan, he's going to go, he's got his hands full of Casey O'Gorman, because Casey's looking very, very strong indeed behind him. Of course, the 2 both racing in a British Talent Cup, and Casey O'Gorman, who's been finishing very, very strongly in that one, is looking very, very good indeed here. Of course, he's got his younger brother Ollie O'Gorman racing in the rookies, and what a good mentor he's been to him, because Ollie's been in supreme form this weekend, picking up a couple of podiums to himself and adding a few extra decent results to his list that he's been having this season. But Casey O'Gorman, what a send down the inside there, backing it in. Oh, big slide for O'Gorman. Almost went down. That's a fantastic save.
Sullivan Mounty would have been holding his breath for that, waiting for Casey O'Gorman to go down, because I thought he was down. I'm pretty sure Casey thought he was down. Sullivan definitely would have done, but now Sullivan wants to bite back, and he's almost contact with the rear wheel. The big wheels there on that Conti chassis with a CRF 150 engine in, GP style machine for Sullivan Mounty. Looks exactly the same as his British Talent Cup Moto 3, but we can assure you it is not, and he's all over the rear wheel. Casey O'Gorman, we saw in the last race that first sector, the fast flowing stuff, Sullivan Mounty could stay all over the rear wheel of Casey, but once it got to the tight technical stuff on the other end of the circuit, Casey O'Gorman was just slightly a bit stronger. So we'll see if that's still the story here in race 3 for the Extreme 200s. Don't forget the Moto teams out in this race as well. It's Will Howarth leading the way in that one ahead of Jamie King. Jamie got the better of Will earlier on. Casey O'Gorman around the outside of some lap traffic. 9 laps to go and already lap traffic here in the Extreme 200s and the Moto teams. Very packed grid here, and 3 classes in this category.
And even with that slide and big moment into the previous lap, Casey O'Gorman did the fastest lap of the race of 48.3, was 0.5 of a second faster than Sullivan Mounty's time. So even sideways, Casey has a great job. But as he started to break away, because I'm just looking out to see if I can see Sullivan Mounty. Can I see Casey? Yeah, can't see Casey O'Gorman. Casey O'Gorman off to the side of the circuit. So I tried to see, and now that is Casey O'Gorman out of this race. And what a shame from Casey. There we go,
back up and running.
Back up and running. So he must have gone down or had an issue of the bike, because it's promoted Sullivan Mounty up into the lead. So where is he on circuit? He's down into 3rd position, we believe. So 4th position. So he's dropped down to 4th place on circuit. So Casey, well, if he had a task in his hands to keep Sullivan Mounty behind, now he's got to overhaul 3 extra bikes for to make it a hat-trick of wins here in the Extreme 200 class.
I wouldn't put it past him either, though. 8 laps to go. Let's see what he can do. I think he'll be able to get back onto the podium. Will he be able to win? It's a tall order, but it is Casey O'Gorman that we're talking about, so we're going to keep our eyes glued to the screen to see what he can do. British Talent Cup rider, the title favourite going into the British Talent Cup, suffered a massive injury back at Knock Hill, is back up and running on a bike, improving his strength all the time. It's what he's here doing, preparing himself for the British Talent Cup, looking really strong, sideways action all the time for Casey O'Gorman. I think it was safe to say last year in the British Talent Cup, crashing was a little bit of his downfall, but he's been mentored by Shaky Byrne this year. He's got a calm head on his shoulders this year, and he's managed to stay on the bike in all the races that he's been racing in. Of course, unfortunately taken out of Knock Hill, and that's what caused his injury. But now looking really, really strong. But he's crashed in this race and is back up and running and putting a solid pace. Looks so smooth out there on circuit, and he's catching Ollie Horner, and Ollie Horner is 3rd place in this race, so he's already in contention for these podium spots.
Yeah, if you're Ollie Horner, the last person you want behind you is Casey O'Gorman with fire in his eyes, because you can see just catching him by tenths and tenths per corner. And he's going to be right on Ollie's tail as they go into the hairpin in the infield section. Casey looks as though he's going to make a move, goes down the inside. Once again, almost a big move. And this is a highlight of Casey's stars. There we go, down the inside into the dogleg hairpin, into Barney's Bend goes Casey O'Gorman.
And there's James Dutton in second as well.
So he's almost going to recover back to second position off to the side of the road.
Dylan Mellor again.
Yeah, so not a great race for Mellor, but Casey just rides on the edge the entire time. Like you say, it's he had a couple of crashes in the BTC, and we saw last season back here in FAB where he had that big crash with Johnny Garnett at Lid as well, just going side by side through a corner. He definitely rides on the edge, and he's going to sweep around the outside of James Dutton up into second position. What a move.
Yeah, he's just filing his way through the back markers and through the guys that he's actually racing against. So 9 seconds it is up to Sullivan Mounsey. Quite a bit of a gap, so we're going to have to see if he can claw that down. Only 5 laps to go. I don't think he's going to be able to do it, with Sullivan Mounsey having relatively similar pace. Sullivan Mounsey 49.1 on that last lap. Fastest lap of the race was a 48.3 by Casey O'Gorman, so he's only at best a second a lap quicker than Sullivan Mounsey. So it's going to be a big tall order. Looks as if it's going to be second place for Casey O'Gorman, but anything can happen with 4 laps to go of this Extreme 200 race. Quick check on the moto teams. Will Howarth it is that leads, and Jamie King's just dropped off our screen, so I have to find out. Jamie King down to 11th overall, so that's second in the moto teams, but now a big difference in pace between Casey O'Gorman and Sullivan Mounsey. A 50.1 on the last lap for Mounsey, 48.6 for the last lap of Casey O'Gorman. Yeah,
it's getting quicker and getting quicker. As you say, over to moto team, we have got Will Howarth leading away from Jamie King. Jason Pugh third in that category. Is side by side through the outside goes Will Howarth. What a move as he's battling there with the 87 Felix Dorling. So Felix keeping Will Howarth honest as they sweep around the infield section. Not an easy move to make, and fantastically done there. But it is Will Howarth leading the moto team overall class. Of course, moto team split into 2 categories: moto team open and moto team stock. And so there's 3 winners in this one race. Well, with 3 laps left to go, Sullivan Mounsey, he had a 9-second advantage. It was dropped down to 7.5. It was now back up to 8.2. So it does look like, if all things go to plan, Sullivan Mounsey, who set his best time in the race. Yeah, last time around, best lap of the race at 48.685. Casey O'Gorman at 49.3. So Casey's starting to find his way into traffic now, so that's going to cost him some time. So that's where this race might be won, because you think if it was in clean air, Casey might be able to catch him up. But Sullivan Mounsey with what we've got through with penultimate lap, 2 laps left to go. As I was looking down at my screen, I've got so much going on. Casey O'Gorman, fastest lap of the race, a 48.3, was a second faster than Sullivan Mounsey, but he's not going to have enough time. Surely if Sullivan keeps on 2 wheels, he's going to be coming home and taking a first win here at FAB. What a result for Sullivan, who he deserved this. He's had a really solid weekend up against Casey O'Gorman.
Yeah, it's not an easy name to beat, is Casey O'Gorman, as Sullivan Mounsey just files his way through all the lapped traffic with a few different classes running here in this Extreme 200 and Moto team race. And Sullivan Mounsey, like you say, has had a good weekend. He was also having some fun on a GP70 machine in practice, but just racing in the Moto teams this weekend, really wide and up the inside, round the outside. Lots going on, and lucky to not make contact with anyone through there, as very, very busy circuit here for the final race of the weekend for the Extreme 200s and the Moto team. Will Howarth leading the way in the Moto team ahead of Jamie King, and Jason Pugh is also on the podium. Darren Anderson's unfortunately gone down and out of the race. We can see just off Jack Andrews it was, the number 14, that's gone down and out of the race. One of the Pit Bike 140 riders as well. But just a few more corners to go, and it will be Sullivan Mounsey that's going to take his first ever Extreme 200 win here in the FAB-Racing Mini Bike British Championships. There's Jamie King crossing the line, and it's going to be really soon that Sullivan Mounsey is going to be coming round the final corner to take the checkered flag, and he does it. Sullivan Mounsey takes the win ahead of Casey O'Gorman, and James Dutton will come around to pick up third place, and that's going to be his first win definitely in the Extreme 200s.
Yeah, what a result there. The gap at the end, 4.8 seconds. So Casey O'Gorman was flying, and those last few laps with Sullivan Mounsey, your race winner Casey O'Gorman, he finishes in second. Won't be happy with that fall that cost him the race win. However, he goes 2 from 3. Sullivan Mounsey takes that race win. I'm sure he'll be delighted as they go into the rest of the season. Sullivan Mounsey, of course, will be up in the British Talent Cup alongside Casey O'Gorman, and Sullivan with an arm up, waving to the camera as he celebrates that first win here in the Extreme 200s. As I was just enjoying looking out the window at Jack Andrews, who was incandescent with rage at his bike. His bike just gave up on him. He jumped off it whilst it was still rolling. It just dropped to the ground. He took his helmet off and almost launched it halfway across the circuit with his gloves as well. Not happy at all. He's now perched on the side of the tyre wall
for a little sulk.
Oh dear, it's not been a weekend to remember for the 14 of Jack Andrews. He was not happy at all, as he's now got to go wheel that bike that I'm sure he's going to have some stern words with back to his paddock area, and I'm sure he'll collect his thoughts and come back stronger in the race at Clanau in 2 weeks' time. So that is Extremes 200s and Moto Team done. Moto Team class win went the way of Will Howarth, Jamie King in second, and Jason Pugh in third place in that. I'm pretty sure that's the same result we've had all weekend. I'll double check that, but I'm pretty sure that's the case, as there is Jamie King having a quick chat there with Jack Andrews and Bernie Hook, I believe that is as well. So as they all chat away, what happened, Jack, as he wheels the bike back. What have you got a helmet off? I'm surprised they helped me. Might need to replace the visor on that, because I don't know if you saw it, but
I didn't know.
I've never seen someone throw it. It was like a bowling ball. He just launched it. But yeah, Jack Andrews wheeling the bike away, and that's the Extremes done. So that means, well, we've got the tension building, nerves rising as the adrenaline starts flowing for GP70 action, the Premier class at FAB. It's the third and final race, the big race. Everyone wants to win the third and final race of the weekend to make sure they head off into the next round with a full head of steam and confidence booming out of themselves, making sure that they let everyone else know that they are the one in form. Well, in race 2, it was dramatic scenes as Filip Srowiak, leading the race, got the move ahead of Ethan Sparkswell, went down and could only recover back a few points in the championship. Will that mean he drops down, well, a considerable amount of points come the end of this weekend? We will have to find out. It was Ethan Sparks that ended up picking up that race win. Mason Foster and Ronnie Harris on the podium alongside him. Well, what do we see from Filip this time around? Is he a little bit more cautious, or is he trying to recover that win that I think he probably thinks he can get?
I think for Filip, I don't think he'll be thinking about the championship or anything like that. I think he's going to be going out and looking for wins and putting it all on the line to pick up more wins in his season. So they're going to get started for their green flag lap, and like you say, Filip Srowiak is going to be determined, but so is the likes of Ethan Sparks, the number 62, who's going to be lining up on pole position for the final race of the weekend here for the MKGP 70s, ahead of the number 75 of Philip Soroviak. Mason Foster and Ronnie Harris are on the second row of the grid in third and fourth, ahead of Ben Jolliffe, who rounds out the top five with Clayton Edmonds on the 146 in fifth. Of course, MKGP 50 championship leader. On row 4 is the number 8 of Blake Wilson in 7th place, ahead of Joshua Williams, the number 78 in 8th. Charlie Huntingford is home round this weekend. He's 9th place on the grid, ahead of the number 44 of Sullivan Mounsey, who I don't think will be lining up the grid, but is set in 10th. The number 70 of Ollie Horner in 11th is in the 6th row of the grid, ahead of Greg Marshall in 12th, with Felix Dorling, Harry Payne and Noah Guillory rounding out the top 15 and rounding out the grid for the final race of the weekend for the MKGP 70s, the final race of normal scoring points for the MKGP 70s, with the next round being double points. Who's going to take this final victory?
It's going to go down to the wires. We go ready to go. Lights on, pause, lights out, and it's the final race of the weekend. It's a good start from Soroviak. He takes the lead into turn 1. Ethan Sparks has to hold on for second position because Mason Foster's trying to go around the outside. Can't get the job done, but it's Philip Soroviak leading from Ethan Sparks as Ethan tries to get back down the inside. Philip shuts the door and says, not this time. Mason Foster trying to get the move done. Rodney Harris trying to move up into fourth position.
Big moment from Jolliffe there. Just got on the power too early, and this just unsettled him and sat him up. He was trying to make a move on Mason Foster to get up into third as well earlier in that, but didn't make that slip. But now Ben Jolliffe losing a position to the number 66 of Ronnie Harris. So Ronnie Harris up into fourth, and Ethan Sparks up into the lead, or is he? No, it's the front wheel that touches the leg of Philip Soroviak. Soroviak stays defensive, and Ethan Sparks won't lead this first time across the line. It's going to be Philip Soroviak once again, but Ethan Sparks has a look down into the first corner. It's really tight through there, and Ethan Sparks pushes Soroviak wide. Can Mason Foster capitalise? No, he can't. So now it is Sparks, Soroviak, Foster, and I think it is Ronnie Harris in fourth. He's hungry for a podium.
Yeah, what a little move there from Ethan Sparks. Very entirely indeed. Philip Soroviak was not having any of it. He was not allowing Mason Foster to get a run at him. Cut straight across the 88 and up in and held second position. But Mason Foster is surely going to want to get one back on Philip Soroviak. Does he have a look down into the inside of the Wones hairpin? Not quite able to get it done, but Ethan Sparks now back up into the lead. He lost it off the line. Philip Soroviak will be wanting to get it back. Ronnie Harris once again right up at the sharp end of this one. Ben Jolliffe, and then equally Blake Wilson having a solid run on the 108. He's just off the back end of Ronnie Harris, and he's bringing Clayton Edmonds along with him, but it is the lead three in the championship once again at the front of this one. Ethan Sparks, Philip Soroviak, Mason Foster. Ethan Sparks fastest lap of the race last time around, 49.225, as they still try to trade positions. Philip trying to go down the inside, Ethan just cutting him off. This is once again going to be an absolute must-see watch. Do not go anywhere. You want to be watching the end of this race, because Philip Soroviak is going to want to get some points back after that fall in race 2. Ethan Sparks wants to take another win on the weekend, and Mason Foster surely wants to be ending the weekend with a victory. He's yet to taste the top step of the podium this weekend.
Ethan Sparks then, who leads ahead of the number 75 of Philip Soroviak. Philip looking for another win on his season, but the man on form has been lately, it has been Mason Foster. But Ethan Sparks has picked up 2 wins so far this weekend. Can he make it 3 from 3? He's looking strong at the front of this race, but here comes Soroviak. Nice block pass from him, but can Ethan get the cut back? Can he get the drive down into the left-hander? And he does. He has a little look at the inside, but Soroviak real defensive, and that's unsettled Sparks now. But Sparks will be looking to recover and regain positions as Ronnie Harris makes a massive move up the inside of the number 88 of Mason Foster. Mason with the fastest lap of the race last time round, but that doesn't matter because he's been bullied out of that top 3.
What a move. Ronnie Harris, take a bow, absolutely sent it into the hairpin, gets the job done, and Ronnie clearly after that solid result in race 2 is right on the base, and he's smelling the fact that he can not only finish on the podium, he might even be in the hunt for the victory here if he can close in on this lead battle of Soroviak and Sparks, because Ronnie Harris in the 66 machine is firing on all cylinders as he heads down towards O'Rossi. we've got, 10 laps left to go, and I don't think we're going to be able to do it all, because it's going to be absolutely mega. I'm going to be blowing my voice out by the end of this one. We've got Soroviak, we've got Sparks, Harris and Foster. Ben Jolliffe is still in this one as well. They're going to go down to their hairpin, and it looks as though everyone's just taking a little bit of a breather. Mason Foster is probably not going to know what hit him with that move.
This is it. This is the premier class of the FAB-Racing Minibike British Championships, the final step on the ladder before they move up to the likes of the British Talent Cup, over to the BSB, over to the World Championships. This is their final chance of a championship in the FAB-Racing Minibikes British Championships. We know a lot of these riders already have their sights set on the British Talent Cup, and now Filip Soroviak, one of these riders who has his sights set on the BTC, moving up into the BTC for the next round at Donington Park, will be wildcarding. He has a little bit of breathing space now. It was almost half a second across the line, and Ethan Sparks has just dropped off the back of him a little bit now. Mason Foster it was with the fastest lap of the race last time out, but all these lap times really, really close at the top, all in the mid 48s.
Yeah, fantastic race so far. Everyone matching general pace. This is what we saw in race 2. Filip Soroviak leading away, and he had a bit of a lead, and that's where he made his mistake. So he just needs to keep it on two wheels as they go around the first corner. We've got 8 laps left to go in this one. The Premier Class, the last step here at FAB before they head off to the lights of the British Talent Cup. It is Filip Soroviak, FS75, on that blue machine as he heads around the infield section. Ethan Sparks, of course, last season's AC40 Pro and the GP50 champion. He's got his the runner-up in that GP50 championship behind him, Ronnie Harris, and equally third in the 70s last season was Mason Foster. Mason now trying to find a way back onto the podium, because Ronnie Harris is still holding on to third. Goes very, very wide on the exit, and that's going to open the door surely for Mason. Not quite close enough to get a move done. Ronnie Harris riding right on edge, and Mason trying to find a way past. They're going to go side by side. Oh, and he gets to switch back there side by side, almost swapping paintwork between the number 88 and the number 66. They were racing against each other for a couple of rounds last year in the MKGP 50s before Mason Foster decided to solely focus on the MKGP 70s and was third last year. Wants to go to better this year and take that championship victory, but it's not going to it's not going to happen if Ethan Sparks has anything to say about it. But it's been between those two for this championship, and now Filip Soroviak has put the pace down strong and hard. He has 0.66 of a second he had across the line, and he's really pulling away on circuit now as well. But Ethan Sparks is actually closing it down a little bit now, so just as I say that, we'll see what the gap is across the line. Soroviak across the line, Sparks across the line, and he's eked it out. It's almost 0.8 of a second now. Yeah, these last 3 laps have been within 1.5 tenths of each other. That's how consistent Filip Soroviak's pace has been. Ethan Sparks now just under 0.8 of a second behind. Ronnie Harris and Mason Foster are now almost in a little bit of a trio battle for second position, because Ethan Sparks, he's just fallen off the back of Filip Soroviak now, so he's going to have to start worrying about Ronnie Harris behind him rather than obviously going on the offensive and being able to get in the eye line of Filip Soroviak. Mason Foster back up the inside there of Ronnie Harris, so Mason doing exactly the same move that we saw Ronnie Harris do just a few short laps ago. Now back up into P3, so Ronnie has to go back on the offensive. These trio of riders fighting every single lap for a position. You can see how much a podium means to you. When you're coming down to the sharp end of the championship, every point matters. Mason knew it's that.
Oh, Ronnie Harris has gone off at the side of the circuit at turn 1. Ronnie Harris is out of the race. It looked as if it was going to be a brilliant race for the number 66, and it looks as if the bike has let him down this time around, and that he is distraught with that one. He's trying to get it restarted there, still in gear. It just bumps forward 1.1 seconds though at the lead of this race. Filip Soroviak has battles. It's a yellow flag at the first corner, so they're going to have to think about that. But now look at that move from Mason Foster, and look at this big move from the number 62, the championship leader, Ethan Sparks. This is about the championship between these two.
What a fight. We've just seen 2 changes of position in 2 corners. In fact, Mason Foster's lining him up, going down into turn 1. Can't get the move done. Ethan turns in early and cuts him off, but that's going to give Mason Foster a better run down the back straight in towards Shoemakers, and they're sweeping around. Mason Foster takes the inside line, gets another move done on Ethan Sparks there, and that would take big move with Tristan Pinocchio. Here comes, surely there's contact. Oh, did they not collect each other? Ethan Sparks and Mason Foster, and all this is doing is allowing Filip Sorowiak to break away now. It was 1.7 seconds last time around. They're about to start, 3 laps left to go. Mason Foster and Ethan Sparks are going at each other like never before. We've not seen this sort of overtaking between these three all season long. They've been pretty cagey, not wanting any contact, but you can see the gloves are off and they're all going for each other.
Racing is unfair as we look at Ronnie Harrison, the side of the circuit. He's just watching on for these guys, but Filip Sorowiak has a comfortable lead at the front now, 1.5 seconds, and those guys battling is not helping their chance of the victory of this race at all. But there's battles all the way through this race. We've been watching some of the battles a little bit further down as well, keeping an eye on them. And Josh Williams in this battle for this is for 6th between Charlie Huntingford, Blake Wilson in there, who's now making a move at the inside of Charlie Huntingford, pushing him well wide, and that was happening earlier on in the race. I just caught a glimpse of it out of the commentary box window, and now it's happening on our screens as well. Ollie Horner is also in there, has been having a little bit of track time over in the Moto team category. You can see your top 3 through there. Clayton Edmonds in a solid 4th position, has had wins and podiums in this category in the past, but currently in 4th. Ben Jolliffe in a little bit of a lonely 5th place, but look at this battle between these two guys now. It is the penultimate lap, and now Mason Foster on circuit is catching Filip Sorowiak.
Yeah, he's taken 0.7 of a second out of him on that last lap alone. So if that's the case, then he's going to catch him on the final lap, and it's going to go down to a final lap shootout between Mason Foster and Filip Sorowiak. And Mason is riding like a man possessed at the moment. He's already on the tail of Filip Sorowiak on this penultimate lap, and he's closing in. He uses all of the runoff area on the exit of the dogleg hairpin.
He's on him
and
now.
He's right on him as we go on to the final lap. And Mason Foster, he knows he desperately wants a victory. He hasn't won here at Ellough Park so far this weekend, and he looks as though they've dropped Ethan Sparks, so Ethan now having to hold on for P3. Mason Foster and Filip Sorowiak are now your protagonists for this race victory. If all things go to plan, if they stay on 2 wheels, it looks like it's going to be a drag to the line between the pair of them. It is Filip Sorowiak, Mason Foster, Ethan Sparks, the championship leader in 3rd position. Filip wants this win. He went down from the lead in race 2. Mason Foster yet to taste victory here at Ellough Park. He's got 1 or 2 more opportunities. Does he send it down into the hairpin? Not quite close enough, but he's surely going to line him up. Uses all of the runoff area now, and he's going to send it down the inside. There's a change of the lead. Can Sorowiak go back? He gets the cutback. They go side by side into the final 2 corners. It's going to be a drag to the line. Mason Foster has taken it, and he wins race 3 here. GP70 action. Absolutely brilliant.
What a victory from Mason Foster. Had a 1.5 second gap to try and bridged it, caught Sorowiak, put in a final last lap move right at the end of the lap. Just about managed to hold on to it. Incredible victory. He's going to remember that one for a long time coming. Brilliant race as well from Sorowiak. Sparks 3rd. Will probably be disappointed with that one in hindsight in terms of the championship, and picked up 2 wins earlier on in the weekend. Will have wanted 3. Still podium points for him though. Clayton Edmonds in 4th. Ben Jolliffe rounds out your top 5 and was looking very racy at some points in that race. And it's Joshua Williams that did get the better of the likes of Blake Wilson, Charlie Huntsford and Ollie Horner in that scintillating battle for 6th place. And Harry Payne rounding out your top 10 in that one. And there he is then, your race winner, and he's being congratulated there by Archie O'Brien. The incredible victory, probably the best victory I have seen in an MKGP70 race in the 2 seasons that we've been here, guys.
He closed in by 1.9 seconds over the previous 2 laps. That's how quick he was at the end of that one. He used the karting line. He wasn't even on the painted area. He took a tight line through the apex and really hugged the painted area and ran offline, and that gave him the run down into the hairpin. So yeah, what a result for him, just maximising the track length and track circuit, and he is race winner. So there's 2 to Ethan, or 1 to Mason Foster. Filip Sorowiak, I'm sure, will not be best pleased with that. He looked as though he was nailed on for victory. He'll have to come back in 2 weeks' time and try and pick up, of course, double points on offer in Llandau in South Wales in just 2 short weeks' time for the final round of the season. As there's Ronnie Harris. You've got to feel for Ronnie because he was well in that battle.
That is the sad part of racing, isn't it? That's the other end of the spectrum, and fortunately he goes walking towards our cameraman Dan Ma, who's we've plomped onto the mound there at the top. There was a big ants nest.
We didn't tell him there was a huge ants nest before we put the camera on there. I accidentally stood on it, and I was like, well, I'm glad I'm not standing here on the camera all weekend long. So hopefully Dan's got some tight shoes on, because otherwise he might be feeling a little bit itchy underneath. But yeah, unfortunately for Ronnie, I mean, like you say, that's the worst side of motorsport. That's what you don't want to see. It was all going to plan for Ronnie Harris. He'd made an absolutely magnificent move on Mason Foster. And looking strong for a podium. He was, and it was a solid weekend he's had all weekend long. He was quick in Friday practice, he was quick in qualifying, and that's the Ronnie Harris of old. That's the Ronnie Harris we saw in the GP50s last season, making big moves and getting the work done. And I'm sure we will see Ronnie come back stronger. And he'll learn from this. And unfortunately, I think even when it's in this case, when it's the bike that lets you down, it feels even worse.
Yeah, it will have done. But he knows that he had the pace to finish on the podium or even win in that race. So he'll be disappointed, obviously, but he'll know that he could have done it, and there was nothing that he could have done. Unfortunately, that is sometimes it just happens in racing, and that's just something that he's going to have to learn to deal with if he's going to have a long and prosperous career for the number 66 of Ronnie Harris. But now moving from the juniors back to the seniors, from 2 wheels to 3 wheels. It is the final race of the day, the final race of the weekend. It is the Mini F1 sidecars. There's always incredible racing in this category. A dominant force at the front. Mick Williams is looking to try and win every single race on the season. He's done it so far. Will he be able to win every single race here at Ellough Park? We'll be finding out very, very shortly. There's always some exciting action with the likes of Jason and Leo. Green Street, Mark Parker will be in there. Watch out for the number 89 outfit of John Keats, always giving us some incredible action. A very exciting riding and driving style for the number 89.
Yeah, for a bike that has 3 wheels, he tends to be on 2. It is great fun watching him. It's something that, well, if you've never had a chance to have a go on a sidecar, they often do some charity passenger runs at different events. If you see it's available, you should definitely sign yourself up for it. It is like nothing else you've ever experienced. If you thought go-karting is quick, and I mean, we were doing quick laps around here in go-karting quicker than the bikes have been doing, but sidecars, the feel of the power as the bike accelerates is like nothing else. And we were talking about the fact that these are mini F1 sidecars. If you're up on the F1 sidecars and like the BSB paddock, they are just a different breed of human.
Yeah, they've running 600cc machines up to from 130 to 150 brake horsepower in those, and incredibly. They used to run 1000cc as well. So yeah, very, very quick. But on pole position then, number 26, Mick Williams and Michael Elms on that Red Bull inspired liveried outfit ahead of Jason and Leo Green Street, sorting their starts out for this weekend. The number 76 of Adrian and Claire Ems will line up in 3rd spot on row 2 ahead of the number 230 of Mark Parker in 4th. Vince Bailey on the number 8 outfit will line up in 5th ahead of John Keats in 6th, with Scott Jewett and Kyle Masters fronting those outfits in 7th and 8th on the 4th row and final row of the grid for the Mini F1 sidecars for this final race for the Mototechniks round 6 here at Ellough Park. I think it's safe to say that you can safely put your money on Mick Williams. Has won every single race of the season so far, is looking to win every single race here at Ellough Park, and we will see what happens.
Yeah, Roger Keys was telling us back at Rowra that he thinks that unless the bike has had an issue, he's never seen Mick Williams and Michael Elms not win a race on pace. So that shows you just how consistent they are and how much they've got that bike tuned to absolute perfection. But the Green Streets, watch out for them. They've had a solid weekend, 2 second-place finishes, and they've been pretty comfortable in that. Jason with his passenger Leo getting ready with lights on, pause, lights off, and it's a good start from your pole sisters. Once again, the Ems pairing trying to go around the outside of the Green Streets. Oh, up on 2 wheels once again goes John Keats on the 89 bike, but it is a great start from the Ebbs pairing. Aidan Clare getting the jump on the green streaks as they sweep up in P2. The green streaks P3, John Keaton P4.
A solid start again from Mick Williams and Michael Elms, like we say, masters of their trade, but they're trying not to let them get away. Now Adrian and Claire Ems are determined to make sure that the number 26 doesn't get away, but he's already got a good bit of breathing space ahead of the rest of these guys. Exciting riding start for the number 89 there, and they're side by side into the dogleg hairpin, but it's not going to be a move made just yet. There is that number 70 all black and orange outfit. Oh, and almost hitting the tyres there was the passenger on John Keats' machine.
Yeah, not what we want to do at all is lose a passenger, especially if you're getting bodied by a set of tyres. But into the penultimate corner, Jason and Leo Greenstreet is shaping up Adrian and Claire Ems, and then equally John Keats is getting Mark Parker sweeping around the outside, going into the main straight. And what a move there from Mark Parker around the outside, filters right in front of him. Great job there from the 230 bike, and the 89 now has to hold off because Vince Bailey's coming from behind. That was a titanic battle, and there he goes, second position now goes back to the green streets, and of course Aidan Clare Ems dropping down into P3 after a great start. They've had a fantastic rivalry all season long, these foursome, and they have been battling each other on circuit almost every single round, and we said it in race 2, we have to commend the Ems pairing. Aid was taking the likes of Rossi Banham and Jamie King out to try and get a new passenger. Claire has suffered a pretty nasty injury to her hand, was struggling to hold on to the bike, and she's soldiering on. Unfortunately, Rossi or Jamie weren't able to, they were too scared to passenger, and Claire, she's just got on with it. She's got a torn ACL in her knee, she's got a severely injured hand, pretty nasty injury to the hand, and she's straight back on it, and clearly it's not hampering them too much because they're up there in third place.
Like you say, straight back on it, and short sharp races for the Mini F1 sidecars, so luckily doesn't have to squander too much pain. But it looks as if we've got a problem for John Keats now, who seems to be touring around this circuit. Yeah, it's quite slow down that straight, so possibly some sort of issues there for that number 89 outfit. They've been giving us plenty of exciting entertainment, but doesn't look like they're going to be giving us any more today.
No, the definitely doesn't sound too healthy out there as he's cruising around the infield section, but up at the front of this one, the 26 just motoring on once again, and they cross the line. Fastest lap last time around, and this time they almost match it, just a fraction under a tenth of a second slower. 56.9 was the fastest lap, 57 flat this time around. Jason Greenstreet in second position, Adrian Ems in third. Mark Parker has been a thorn in the side of Adrian Ems all weekend long, and he's been making up some really solid moves. He's been starting from fourth, and he's been fighting his way involved in a battle with the Ems pairing in both race 1 and race 2. Race 1, we managed to get them on the line. Race 2, Ems managed to hold him off. Will we see that battle reignite in this one? Because we've got the green streets on the 90 bike, we've got the 76, the Ems, and then we've got Mark Parker on the 230, all split by around about a second and a half of each other. But obviously we've talked about the Ems pairing, we've talked about Mark Parker doing very well this week. Let's talk quickly about Jason and Leo Greenstreet. Solid second position in both the opening 2 races and in this one. Of course, it's a father-son pairing. Leo, who hadn't actually been he'd not really had too much experience until he got on the bike for the first time, and they've been so consistent this season, picking up podiums almost every single round.
Yeah, they have been, and they've been really trying to bridge that gap to the leader, and they've been really strong. But Leo Greenstreet, very, very new to sidecars, has been learning all the time, and now on this bike, now in second place in this race, 11 seconds back from Mick Williams and Michael Elms. But no one, there's pretty much in a class of their own. So it's between the rest of the riders to be able to fight for the other positions. So like we say, 11 seconds between them. And Jason and Leo Greenstreet, they've had to work on their starts a little bit. That's definitely been their downfall at the start of the season, but they've got that sorted now, and consistent podiums from them. So they're going to be looking to try and get quicker and quicker. And I think in the future in this sidecar race, they may very well be able to stick it to Mick Williams and Michael Elms. Give him a little bit more time, and we might very well see it.
Yeah, it's been great to see them all season long. And the sidecar paddock, incredibly friendly, helpful, and really, really welcoming. When Tristan and I have both had our passenger rides, they give you all the knowledge you need to know, and equally they're there with a smiling face once you've come off it, and for them, I mean, it's a laugh watching everyone else. Well, I'm sure for if same as you and I, screaming their way around, just have no idea, with some people just kind of frozen in position, some people trying to put an effort in and trying to leading around, but it is absolutely sensational watching it. I have so much respect for these guys on the sidecars, and they put in such a good show. And it's part of the FAB community as usual, and just really, really friendly, warm people, and I'm definitely going to miss this one because it's been great fun getting to know all of them.
It's something different as well, isn't it? It's something that we don't see very often. These three-wheelers going around on circuit. You obviously see them in the BSB paddock as well on occasions over there. And there's a sidecar world championship as well. But these small ones, homemade, handcrafted machines are really always exciting to watch. And it's something completely different, and something. It's not quite a car. It's not quite a bike. There's two people on it. It's exciting stuff, and a few more corners to go for Mick Williams and Michael Elms, that have been absolutely blowing away the field, and they're going to have 3 wins from 3 this weekend if they can navigate their way around this final section of the lap here at Ellough Park. Round 6, the Mototechniks round 6, the final race of the day, the final race winners of the day, and it's going to be the number 26 of Mick Williams and Michael Elms that are going to take it. They're coming around the final corner for the final time through Mini Rossi, through the final corner, and they're going to come across the line to take 3 wins from 3 in the Mini F1 sidecars. Outstanding performance. Every single race of the season has been won by that number 26 outfit. It's going to be Jason and Leo Greenstreet. A terrific second place for them. Really brilliant stuff, and it's going to be a drag to the line for third place. Who's going to be that's going to take that one? It's going to be the Ems pairing once again that just beat Mark Barker again to the line. Yeah,
what a result there from Adrian and Claire Ems, holding on to it. Mark Parker, deja vu. Those 4 have been glued together at the end of all 3 races. And I've come across the line. I'm trying to gauge up. I think less than half a second of all 3 races they've crossed the line together. So that shows you just how close it is in this
definitely
midfield.
The last one. Definitely,
yeah, absolutely. What a result there. And that's another 3 from 3 from Mick Williams. Michael Elms, just one more race to go to complete their clean sweep, the golden sweep of every race win, every round. And they are, I think, if all things are currently, I think I've got maths right, they literally need 1 point from the next round, or any point at that round, and they will be the champion. So we might find that we crown our first champions in Landau in 2 weeks' time. So make sure you do not miss it. Sidecars are heading back in, and that is us done for the day. That's us done for the round 6 of the FAB-Racing Mini Bike British Championship. So yeah, what a day we've had. What a result. We've had some mega races today. The pit bikes and those 70s. What a sensational day we've had.
What an end to the weekend with those Mini F1 sidecars. Something special, something a little bit different. But the way that we ended with that Premier class, with that incredible victory from Mason Foster, it's a fitting send-off for you, Gareth. It's been a pleasure commentating with you all this year, and it's we've had a brilliant couple of years, and lots and lots of action, and perfect way to end.
Yes, likewise, it's been an absolute joy working with you, and a big thank you to Roger Keys, Rob Keys, Roxanne Edmonds, everyone in Race Director that has helped us out and helped make my journey into learning all things about bikes incredibly easy and very helpful indeed. And yeah, it's been such a journey. I've really enjoyed it. I'm obviously missing the next round due to going off on my stag. Unfortunately, that's just how things go. But I will be watching on from afar, watching you, I'm sure, enjoying the rounds and calling all those championships. But well, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. And FAB will be back in 2 weeks' time in South Wales. It has been an absolute brilliant round. So make sure you do all the good stuff on the socials. Like, share, subscribe. And of course, make sure you catch all the races back later on in the week. Thank you very much for joining myself, Gareth Hall, and Tristan Finocchiaro here from Ellough Park. We'll see you in 2 weeks' time.
Let's go! The official BSB Partner Series. This is FAB-Racing. Yeah.